It's all recording, so there's no stopping us now. Ain't no stopping us now in 3, 2, 1.
Well, I didn't expect New Year money here.
Hello and welcome to the very last episode of Core for the year 2022. So I had to finish that sentence quickly so people didn't freak the F out that we were ending the show. We're not doing that.
Yeah. Well, we didn't. The traditional way you end a show is you go, guys, we're going to have a big announcement at the end of the episode.
Yeah, stick around.
Just, there's some news. Stick around. We're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
And then you do a normal show as if nothing's happening. And then you get to the end and you go, well.
Yeah. You drop the bomb.
Yeah,
you drop the bomb. And then
they're
no matter what, they're not happy, but they might be a little more ready,
Yeah.
Because you talk to them. But that's not today. Today is all about, hey, what did we think of 2022? And I'll have to admit, I had a few coming to Jesus moments about my year in gaming that I didn't really realize in real time, but in retrospect, I'll get to it. I'll talk about it. Excuse me. In addition to that, we have all kinds of other stuff to talk about, including our top favorites, some weird categories like John's wallet killer of 2022. You'll be surprised what that one is. I had one that my best game I didn't play yet, for example, which is probably not going to be a surprise to anybody. And then our top 3 of the year. We may even argue about what is the best. And we have some of your questions about, games we played this year and what we thought and what we did. So it's a huge thing today. And it's all about end of year. All right, so we're going to celebrate 2022 the way it was meant to, and that's by doing a show. Before we get to any of that, though, I want you guys to win something, or at least have a chance to win something. And by that, I mean, I want you to go to frogpants.com/doghouse, because here's the deal. I don't know why I'm coughing. Here's the deal. You could win a gaming rig worth $4,000 freaking dollars. That's a lot of U.S. dollars.
Wow.
Core has teamed up with Doghouse Systems and Intel for this. Big thanks to both of them for making this happen. I'll put up the screen for those watching live. And that's the wrong screen. There it is. This is the Doghouse Systems Armor TL model. There are some customized tweaks to it, which you can read all about those specific specs in there. And you got a blazing GPU, CPU, and all the other stuff you want. Tons of storage. It's a freaking beast. And all you got to do is sign up if you want to win. There's only 2 restrictions. 1, you got to live in the U.S. or Canada. Sorry, everywhere else. It's like $2,000 to ship to anywhere else. So kind of not worth it for the whole thing. They're already spending $4,000 for free on you. They're not going to do shipping. So anyway, it's for Canadians and it's for U.S. residents. And the other rule is don't enter twice. It will disqualify you. There are already almost 3,000 people signed up just from mentions on social media. And if you want your chance to be a real one, you want to do it once, not multiple times, and try to game the system. All the details are there. There's quick little information about it. When you go there, fill out the info. None of this is data to keep or anything weird. It's all secure. The website is secure. And it's awesome. And I want one of you to win it. All right. So get in there, make that happen, and be the winner of this amazing machine. And here's the other cool thing about it. And again, that's frogpants.com/doghouse. Here's what's cool. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., I'll be hosting a live stream from Doghouse Systems Central. They're going to be building this machine live on stream, this exact machine. Yep. And during that time, you'll get to not only see them build it, and ask questions. We'll kind of talk about what it takes to build a machine like this in today's world and what's different than it used to be and all that sort of fun stuff. But also, we're going to give away a bunch of prizes that include a bunch of physical stuff, including some hard drives, like a 1 terabyte SATA Samsung drive that I would love to add to my collection because I don't have enough room these days. Anyway, bunch of hard drive stuff, some sticker packs, Rock Runners edition, or editions of the Rock Runners card game, and a ton of video game codes for Steam. So a whole crap ton of Steam codes. And possibly more by then. But that'll be tomorrow morning right here at twitch.tv/frogpants. And we will do the whole thing at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. That's 8 a.m. Pacific. 10 a.m. Central. This is easy. And 11 a.m. Eastern.
Tomorrow, Friday
morning. So if you want to come watch that, do. And then, but even if you miss it, it's okay, because you want to just make sure you sign up. That's the main thing. The following Thursday, when we do Core, 1 Earth week from tonight, at the end of that show, we will announce the winner of this massive gaming rig. Okay?
Right.
So
I feel we talked about this in the pre-show, but I feel it's important to disclose that Crofton has entered this competition, and I'd really like him not to win. So
yeah,
you should apply.
Bo's
If
friend
hate participate.
Yeah, Bo's friend Crofton. Let me see if I can find his entry.
Just delete it.
Yep, there it is. Crofton.
No, we want to. It hurts more if he has the chance.
I had a little. There's a little field in there that says, "What would you do with this machine?" You want to know what he wrote? He wrote, "I would rub it in Bo's face every day for the rest of our lives." That's what he wrote. So
yeah, he would.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyway, tons of you are already in there. I'd love to see all of you in there, so please do sign up. Second thing I want to talk about today before we start getting to our big rundowns for the year is John Tazarek, an amazing part of our community and has been around for a long time around the Fog Pants community. If you follow him on Twitter or follow us on Twitter, you've seen a few posts about this in the past. But a while back, he made some like fake mock-ups of what a core magazine might look like. Kind of like the old school stuff you might get from Next Generation or something. It was that kind of quality, and we all lost our minds and thought, well, that's amazing. Wouldn't it be cool if this was real? Well, it's realer more now than ever. He has a completed issue that is viewable in its entirety. I'm showing it up on the screen right now, but basically it is the big yellow issue with the black logo. The one that deals with Cyberpunk is the one he went with, and it is chock full of core references, core quotes, fake ads that are based around the things we talked about. Like I wouldn't shut up for years about Hard Space Shipbreaker. So there's an ad in there that says 10 out of 10, Scott Johnson from Frog Pants. And then it's basically an ad like you might have seen back in those days. He went through the trouble of making like full table of contents stuff. We all have little sections.
46 pages. It's not like I did 10 pages just to see what it would look like. It's legit a magazine. It's the full content.
It's a full deal. And we are endeavoring to get this made into a printed form, at the very least for the three of us, if not maybe for more.
Yeah.
We just, we don't know yet.
Selfishly for us, and then possibly we'll see what we can do from there.
Yeah, it's really great. And we cover everything from, like, here's a Return to Monkey Island review that is, basically John's thoughts on the game. Guild Wars 2 and what I was talking about with that. Interview with the Protoss, where excerpts of that time that Bo was Artanis in the VR chat.
We should talk to Artanis again. That was a real hit. We should do that again
we're
soon.
good.
And look at this, the complete core bathroom etiquette guide. Amazing. There's a whole thing about lakes.
Lake,
yep.
You can go in a shower. You can go in a pipe.
Yep. It's all
There's
here.
A lot to learn from that.
Yep. It's all here. All three of us got
That's why it's called the complete core bathroom guide.
Yeah. There's a big, there's a Steam Deck ad in here. Let's see what else. A whole bunch of reviews, some more stuff. Scott's Steam Deck, first impressions. He loves it. Diablo Immortal talk, RoboCop Rogue City. John, each of us got like a streamer ad for our streaming pages, which is pretty cool. And then my favorite thing, if I can find it. Let's see here. I like the Bo Zone. Check out Bo. Look at that. All fingers up. Peace style.
Bobo.
Yep.
Our little sections are great.
Yep. Gamer Grandma. This is personally my favorite Photoshop in here, where we have some quotes from Gamer Grandma. It's all just fantastic. There's a giant Snap ad on the back. Anyway, we've made it public on Twitter. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. You need to. It's amazing, and we'll let you know more if something else comes of that. But John, you're
beautiful, Taz. It is beautiful.
Yeah, he did an incredible job.
Man,
it's like legit. It's not just a parody. I mean, it's full of parody information at the moment, but that guy could run a magazine.
Yeah.
Like if we ever do this, he's on staff. There's no question about it. He's dude number one. Anyway, there's all that. Shall we dive into this week's massive discussion about 2022 and its video games? I don't know how massive it will be. We'll find out. Well, let's do it then. All right. We did this in some categories. I think John did, in particular, did a pretty good job of figuring out how we wanted to structure this with some tweaks and stuff here from Bo. I just kind of said, yes, please. This looks great. So we are going to get right into it and start with my list. Okay? I think I have a little music for this in the background. Like I'll have a little bit of the Wii Sport. No, when in DSi Shop. Here we go. How about a little bit of this?
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Just have a little background, a little something.
Yeah.
I like it.
These are just some of the categories that we each chose, kind of made up our own. Some are similar anyway, but these are the things for the year that we were sort of big on or disappointed in. The most surprising games of 2022 for me.
Wait,
some of this is
Scott.
duped.
This is your list, Scott.
This is my list.
These are all Scott's lists.
Yeah,
these are
don't
all
say
things
it's
Scott's
us.
bringing to the.
We're each gonna have our own section.
We're gonna have our own segments. Exactly. Everybody's got their own thing. And thank you for crossing that out because I put it twice and I didn't mean to. For me, I wanted to start with the most surprising games of 2022, and there are 3 of them that surprised me. One of them, well, 2 of them very recently, and one not that long ago either, I guess. But most surprising games for me were, to start with, World of Warcraft Dragonflight. I fully expected not to play WoW this time around. I thought this would be the first expansion I fully avoided, and I did for 3 weeks.
Man, you wrote it off. You were like, no, not interested.
Yeah, I'm just not going to do it. And I kept using examples of things that I thought were not great about it. Like, I was already a little sour going into it. I was really bored and tired and kind of burned out on the game in general. Plus, I thought the cinematics for the new game just didn't seem very cool. They seemed cool technically, but they weren't really telling me a cool story, it didn't feel like. It just felt like a lot of, I don't know, just fluff for fluff reasons, especially the launch cinematic with them racing in the sky on those dragons. It's cool, but it just didn't do it for me the way their previous work had. And so I kept using those things as like other reasons why it's like, well, that's definitely not doing it for me. So I feel even better about not diving in. But a little thing happened. The news dropped that Chris Metzen
Your friend asked you to play.
That is kind of what happened. So Metzen returned to Blizzard as a creative consultant on WoW, and he also told me directly and personally that, hey, this is the best this game's been in a very long time. And he was hesitant to say since Legion because that sounds like self-aggrandizing because he was, all up in there with Legion. But that's basically what he said. And I thought, all right, fine. You know what? I'll just bite this bullet and we'll give it a shot. We'll do the first 10 levels. We'll that's always a decent time in WoW. We'll see how this goes. And it's early yet. We're early in the end game phase of a game like this. If you've just finished leveling to cap and you've finished the major part of the campaign and all that. But I feel pretty safe in saying this is the best WoW has been since Legion. It may supersede Legion for me. At least right now, it's feeling that way. I feel like this game is in so much better shape than it was. It really does make me think that for the last 2 expansions, they were just sitting around working on this and just pooping out standard shit for the other 2 expansions in a row. It really feels this way to me because this is so far and beyond better in so many ways. And I could talk about it all day, and I won't because we don't want to have a 9-hour show. But
we can always do it next week. I am curious. The statements you're making provoke questions.
Well, good. I'm glad.
We have a lot to get through.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm not going to get into that too much, but I just wanted to say that I thought that was a huge surprise this year, and I kind of all back in on it, and it's kind of all I've played for the last 2 weeks. So Dragonflight, it's awesome. Also, the other one that surprised me, and I hadn't decided I wasn't going to like it ahead of time or anything, but it was John's early review of it, his first impressions of it, that pushed me to actually try it, and I ended up loving High on Life. I think High on Life is a rad game.
It is.
It's the only game, I don't know, in years that made me actually laugh. That's hard in games. And for whatever reason, it works here. I think John was right when he said if you're not a Rick and Morty fan, you might avoid it because High on Life is basically a Rick and Morty spinoff. But if you like that sense of humor, if you like Justin Roiland's other work, you're probably going to like this. And I do. And I laughed a lot at High on Life and didn't expect to. And I also think it's just a capable overall experience. It's true. It is not the greatest shooter you're ever going to play. But it might be the best shooter that also incorporates humor into it that I've ever played. Yeah. Can't think of a better one.
It's the only shooter I've played where a really, really bad movie was playing on a television, and I spent an obscene amount of time watching a movie within a video game.
Yeah.
Did you know? So there's a poster in your house
Yeah.
for a show called Tammy and the T-Rex or
Yep.
something like that.
It's apparently a real thing, right?
It is a real movie
Yeah.
with Denise Richards and I think
Forgot
Paul
who else.
Walker's in it.
Paul Walker, right? Yep.
And there's a poster for it, and I just thought it was a silly thing. And then I noticed a movie playing on the TV in my house, and it seemed to be an actual movie. And I went and I sat and I watched so much of this movie, Scott. So much of it.
I watched a bunch as well. I didn't watch.
They got the licensing for this?
They must have.
They had to license the movie for it. Because I went and looked it up because I was like, is this a real movie? What's going on?
Yeah. They're projecting it on
yeah.
the wall. This alien guy that you hook up with is in there just watching it over and over. I guess your sister is too for a lot of the game, but it's weird. I didn't even know it existed. Never even heard of this film. And at first I thought they were faking it, but nope, it's a real
about
deal.
a person's brain getting put into the body of a T-Rex.
Yeah.
And there were scenes of this T-Rex longingly handing a woman flowers and like stroking her head.
Yeah.
Even though his arms shouldn't even be able to reach that far, which really bugged me. But like, I couldn't stop watching it.
Yeah.
It was captivating.
It's super weird in that regard. Yes, Bo.
I've never heard of this movie either. It
Yeah.
seems so weird.
Isn't it weird? I mean, it feels like film sack material at some point, but I didn't know it existed. I assume it's like late 90s, mid 90s, somewhere around the time Denise Richards was doing like, what was the one with the aliens?
Starship Troopers.
Yeah, Starship Troopers.
I think this is like pre even that.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, she's pretty young in it.
Well, it's it's a weird game, and it succeeds pretty wildly at that part of it, the weirdness and the humor, and tying that all together. And it's a decent shooter to the point that I don't think that it would have been a harder game to play had the shooting not been competent. And it is at least that. And I think the traversal stuff later is actually really interesting. So High on Life makes number 2 on my list. Number 3, or in this case, I think the number 1 surprise. I don't know, I'm torn between this and WoW in terms of surprise, but I really liked Against the Storm, which I talked about as a small indie city builder that came to Steam that had roguelike elements. And everybody heard me say that and said, what? A city builder with roguelike elements? How does that even work? It works in Against the Storm. I don't know how to describe this game other than to say it will just change the way you think about city building, or at the very least what it will do is it will harness, for some of you, not all of you, but for some of you, it will harness what you like about city builders and didn't know. For example, there's a certain phase of building your city that is the most satisfying. And it's not always the long haul of, well, I'm still tweaking things out and adding a little extra here. There's like this initial stuff where the city's really growing. A big new building that really matters just went in. And now my citizens can do this, and I've added 8 more people since I put it up. And that kind of, the meat of a city builder is what they give you in a rinse and repeat kind of way. But it doesn't feel, somehow they made it not feel bad to lose your previous city to move on to the next round. It feels okay because you're still, you know that your next game is going to be the parts you like anyway, and you'll get to do those again. And somehow it just works. It's still in early access, so this technically isn't totally out yet, but it did release in early access in 2022, and I thought it was just a weird, warm, hot surprise. I like that game a lot. It's very cool.
Love warm, hot surprises.
Right? That's right.
Who
Well,
doesn't?
I bought it, but I haven't played it yet.
Yeah,
that's
I'm in
right.
the
I
same
bought it on
boat.
the
You
strength of
convinced me to buy it.
yeah. You guys both got it and haven't cracked it yet, eh?
Haven't played it yet.
Well, look, I did that to Midnight Suns. You did it to a city game, a city builder.
Oh, you bought Midnight Suns.
Oh, yeah. I paid for that damn thing. I just haven't started it. I still haven't. Which brings me to my next category. Best game I didn't play yet. I put yet in there because that's important. I will play it. Marvel Midnight Suns for me.
I feel like I've heard this one before.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably have. Also,
I've probably said this one before.
I probably would have put God of War Ragnarok on this list had Marvel Midnight Suns not been so prominent here on the show, but I don't know why. Something's held me back and I haven't played it, but I paid for it. may as well. You know what? I think maybe my brain is partly waiting for them to have full Steam Deck thumbs up on it, which they said they were doing.
It will be a good Steam Deck game.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. I want to play this in bed. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
Before you move on from this one, I just, as this little sidebar, did any? Well, so I already have Death Stranding. Did either of you pick up free Death Stranding?
I did. Grabbed
I
it
did,
on,
even though I already owned it.
Oh, you did? I
Yeah.
didn't own it. I had it on Game Pass, of course, but the Epic had it for sale for a day for one of their. Oh, I forgot to check what today's was. Was it any good? Does anyone know?
I don't know. I've been forgetting to check.
Crap.
I feel like in general they haven't been very good. But
Well, either that or there was stuff they gave away last year, which I already had. So there's a lot of repeat stuff. But yeah, they gave away Death Stranding, and that day I absolutely did it. And they got their servers got smushed that day. That was a very popular free game, I guess. So yeah, now I have it. Now I really have no excuse.
all right. Today's not bad.
What is it?
Dishonored Definitive Edition.
Oh, okay.
And then something called the Eximius Sees the Frontline Season 3 Breakthrough.
What the frick?
I don't know what that is.
All right.
But
Might be
Dishonored's good.
Dishonored is very good. Dishonored 2 is better, though.
It
and
is.
And these are all Game Pass games, so.
Okay.
I mean, you take what you can get. It's fine.
It's like.
I tried to like Dishonored 1.
Nice move, Epic, but you know the second one's a better one.
Yeah. The first one's fine, but it looks like a 360 game, and 2 looks like a proper.
I mean, I get it. For sure.
good.
So, has anyone, one of us booted up the Death Stranding executable yet?
No.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did?
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I played
I'm just asking because of this category. I don't have this as a category, but I'm like, Death Stranding is probably top of my list if I were to have this.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
I
I
mean,
played a little bit of it. I talked about it, I think, a week or two ago, something like that.
it wouldn't count
and,
anyway because it didn't come out this year, right? Like, this thing's like, what, 2019, 2018? When did it come out?
Yeah, it's a couple years old.
Yeah. It's been a bit. But yeah, it might be a game I finally crack this year and then go, oh, I get it now. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll be into it. I don't know. I kind of
stuff coming in 2023. Like, that's card's real full.
Yeah, no kidding. Including another Death Stranding, I think. Isn't that sequel next year? Or is it 2024? I don't know.
I don't know. If there's a movie now.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to see that. I kind of want to see what... I want to finally see what does a movie with Kojima involved look like.
I feel like that's what he wants to do. When I watch his, like, he directs his own trailers. I'm like, do you want to just make movies? Like, you can do that, you know? If you just want to make films, like, that's an option for you.
Yeah, because the way I just need him to be just as weird, though. He needs to be super weird with his filmmaking.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yes, please.
Don't do anything else.
I know he makes games people like. He seems like he's in the wrong profession to me sometimes. I'm like, just make movies.
Maybe at this stage, yeah. Like prior to this, you could see the game trajectory, but maybe now it's time. It's like, no, cut your cord. Get a deal with Amazon Prime or somebody or whoever's doing all the genre stuff. Seems like Prime lately is the place to go, and get a series done or something, or a one-off film or something.
It's America. He could also, whoever makes movies in Japan could. I'm sure they'd hook
That's
him
true.
up, you know?
That's true. Even better because I want weird translation. I want like bad.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel like with American investors, it'd be like, well, we need to know more about who's the lady the protagonist likes. It's like, this is a Hideo Kojima joint. Like, don't ask questions like that. You know, so yeah. I'd rather. I think it would be. I don't know. You would worry about stuff like that, I guess. You know?
What if all he made was a 2-hour CGI porn movie with that quiet character from Metal Gear 5? What if he did that?
I mean, I'd watch it, but I'd pretend like I didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd watch it and I'd admit it, and you know, but it's up for debate whether or not it would be porn. I think there would be a lot of people defending it as having deep meaning and might be reading too deeply.
Because it's Kojima, yeah.
Yeah, she just needed to breathe extra hard. That's all.
Right.
I mean, she's really quiet though. That's her name.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't say shit. That girl.
Well, she's quiet, but she's also like, you put her on your squad, she is humming nonstop.
Oh yeah.
It took me a long time to figure out what it was. I thought it was ambience. I thought it was like, you know how a lot of anime has like cicadas in the background?
Sure.
You just hear cicadas all the time.
Yeah.
Well, when I played Metal Gear Solid 5, I just thought like, well, I don't know, maybe there's a weird cicada-like bug in this country that just makes a weird like sound.
Yeah.
And then I found out that it's if you have quiet on your team, which I always did because I liked having a sniper to help.
Yeah.
She hums constantly.
Yeah. Always
She's
humming.
always humming.
Yeah.
She never stops. She's never quiet.
No, she's for a lady called quiet. She sure likes to not be quiet when you need her to.
This is taken out of context. It's super misogynistic.
I know, right?
The lady on the team, and she never shuts up.
Yeah, shut
Women
up,
may be
lady.
talking.
I just think it's ironic that her name is Quiet and she's not quiet. But she is lovely. And she's based on some real lady. We talked about all that, I think.
It's art.
Anyway, moving on.
He should have named her Art.
Yeah, should have.
Art.
All right, this year I am actually going to call out a category. I wish I would have done this last year, and that is this. If I can find, I think I made even a thing for it. Where is it? Here.
Work harder!
This was my chore core game of the year. All right,
Hell yeah! It's like the giving category for you every year, and
That's
it's
right.
the one I'm always most excited for.
That's right. In 2021, it was easily, if I'd had this category last year, I would have picked hard space shipbreaker easily without any question. That would have been it. This year was a little trickier, and it ended up being one that was released this year, but I technically played in 2021 when it was in early access, and that is Power Wash Simulator. Currently available on everything. That game is a Zen experience. If you just need to chill out, put a movie on in the background or some TV show, sit on your butt and spray down horrible rusted old buildings and cars and stuff and junk, and try to get every little speck and clear the level by cleaning everything and buying new different kinds of soaps and new kind of pressure heads and all that kind of stuff. It was the best of those this year, by far. The work as gameplay genre, I think, was kind of owned by Power Wash Simulator for me anyway, and I think a lot of people felt that way. It was a really good damn one of those. But I would give close second and third place to Electrician Simulator and Toy Tinker Sim. The problem with these two games, Electrician Simulator was best when I was like tweaking electrical devices and messing with like fixing old game controllers and televisions and toasters and stuff. But when they make me go to somebody's house and rewire all of the electricity in the house and stuff, I hated that. Didn't enjoy that. That seemed like too much work. Toy Tinker Sim was a little bit of the opposite. It was almost too simple, but also pretty good in its own way. You took old toys and refurbed them and then resold them. And I thought that was pretty fun. So yeah, my best chore core game of the year, Power Wash Simulator, and if you haven't played it and you have Game Pass, it's on there on console and PC, so no reason not to check out that game. And then my final category was genre that made me buy 1 million of them, which is to say like 12 of them. It's not really 1 million. The Vampire Survivor genre, whatever that's called. What are we calling that?
I think Vampire Survivor likes right now.
Okay.
Is what we're calling it.
Is that what we're calling it?
Great name. But...
Yeah, it's hard because survival is a genre, right? So
Yeah.
you can't call them survival.
I mean, I guess you could call them survivors likes, but that just sounds weird. It seems hard to say.
Yeah.
I like it. Survivors likes.
It's not bad. It still feels like you could be talking about Valhalla or not Valhalla, Valheim or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I read one somewhere. Someone said, how did they put it? Shoot. It was like some
Is
kind
that
of.
what they called it? They just called it shoot.
No,
that's a good category.
it was like
name.
it was like a massive shoot 'em up, freaking horde mode. It's some I forgot. Somebody had it. I heard this the other day.
Tezzeret said it. Reverse bullet hell.
Reverse bullet hell. That's interesting.
You are the bullet hell.
Okay, that's interesting. I'd go with that. Well, anyway, that genre. What's hilarious because the game that inspired it all is the one I played the least of all of them. I still played it, but I didn't play a ton of Vampire Survivors. What I played, though, was a ton of other games that took ideas from it and built on them. And I like them all. Including Vampire Survivors. Even the phone game, which annoys me with its, you died. You want to revive with watching an ad? I freaking hate that.
Has that Vampire Survivors?
Oh yeah, totally does. On the phone it does. But it doesn't ever break up gameplay with ads or any of that. It's only when you die. So you could go for 20 minutes and then die and then decide, well, I want to revive. I don't usually because A, I don't want to look at a phone ad, but B, it does feel antithetical to the spirit of that game.
Yeah.
Which is go until you're dead. And then when you're dead, sorry, you're dead. I don't think reviving is a good idea. But
It's a cheat because the baseline game, the way it got popular, didn't have ads. Unless it has ads now. I hope not.
no, I don't think so. But without it, I wouldn't have discovered all these weird offshoots that are sometimes a lot like it, sometimes just taking a couple of ideas from it. But everything between, Brotato and the outer space one whose name just slipped my mind, Soulstone Survivors, all those, I've really enjoyed them, and I still play them, and they've all turned out to be, including Vampire Survivors, have turned out to be excellent reasons to just have a Steam Deck in your life.
Which Steam Deck Joy-Con did you break?
The one on, well, it's fixed now, but the one on the right. So,
but how? Because you were mostly playing games that used the left one.
Oh yeah, no,
You wore it out, right?
No, I thought I told you guys this. So what happened is somebody yanked on the cord. I don't think it was me. Maybe it was. The Steam Deck fell off of the side of my bed and caught that stick on the bed frame and pulled it out and basically wedged it and jammed it.
Accident casualty. Yeah, I don't think we ever talked about how it got there. I think we all just assumed you gamered too hard.
No. No, in fact,
intense occurred and you ripped it out of its socket.
That's what's funny is I didn't even know it happened until I was playing another game that required that stick. And I reached up with my thumb and I went, what the frick? What am I touching? Oh my gosh, the thing's all out of its socket. It's all left up. It was like finding out your eyes hanging out or something. It was really weird. But as I've mentioned in previous shows, Valve was very nice and took care of me. Thanks, Valve. That's my list. That's my stuff. Now, to intersperse things, we have a joint category that we're going to enjoy now together. Our biggest disappointments of 2022. All right? The games that we were just like, I thought this was going to be great. And you know what? It's bad. So, let's do that. This is our music for that. Let's play this.
Oh. This is really upbeat for disappointment.
I know. It seems like
I still like this song.
Do you have sad music? Like...
Yeah, I do. Let's see. You know what? Let's do how about this?
Oh my gosh.
It's pretty sad. It's a little dramatic, but it's okay. It'll work. So let's get into this list. I guess I'll start because I'm on the top here. My 3 most disappointing games, one of which I didn't play, but I'm still disappointed because it was so poorly reviewed that I'm just bummed out.
It made you not want to play it.
Maybe not want to play it.
That can be disappointing, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So my list goes like this. Saints Row, which I owned for a day and did a return on. I played enough of it to know that it had major problems. It's probably better now, but I don't hear people raving about Saints Row in its current state. You just don't hear it. And I was so excited about a reboot of that series in a next-gen way with all that we know now and these new consoles and new PC stuff. And I just thought, here's a chance for Saints Row to really shine. As much as I love 3 in particular and 4 as well, I just thought this was going to be it, and it was not it. And
this would be on my list if I didn't see the writing on the wall with this one. You
can't
be
you
disappointed
warned me, dude.
if you already know it's going to be bad.
Yeah, you warned me. I know you were right. I hate to admit this when John's right, but he was absolutely right. He had this feeling.
You and my wife, man, nothing makes her madder.
You could just tell from like a mile away that game was going to be too generic.
What was the thing with it? It was the trailer rubbed people the wrong way, right?
The trailer was okay, I think. It's just that series had gotten so crazy by the time 4 and then Gat Out of Hell and all that came out. That game had gone just to do the most insane places, and it had become what that game is. And so when you say Saints Row, you don't think of Saints Row 2 or even the early bits of 3. You think of the wacky bits of 3 and then just off the rails 4 and Get Out of Hell. That's what you think of with that series. So they took it and dialed it like way back to like before all of that, not in a timeline, but gameplay wise, and just said, well, what if we brought it just closer to the ground, kind of like back to its GTA inspired roots, and started at a much more level playing field or whatever. That's one problem with it, because that just felt weird. But my problem with it is it just felt janky. It didn't feel good. It wasn't fun.
It must be awkward at the office being around whoever's idea that was.
What if they're there?
They're still working, I assume, unless everyone got laid off.
No,
they're
like,
still... Guys, what if we took this series back to a point before this series was popular?
Yeah. It's a very weird idea. I think that this was... And it was just undercooked. It was like janky frame rate issues and some other stuff that just felt like it needed patches. And
I mean,
I don't
maybe
know.
it's because they lost all their dildo artists.
right, all the dildo people
Like
moved
it
on.
could have just been a logistics thing, which is
Yeah,
like
AI
all-
wasn't around to generate dildos for them. They had to just those are handcrafted
They're like,
dildos.
we can only make stuff with what we're good at. We only have the people animators, not the dildo guys.
So what do you think if you're a dildo animator and artist at Volition, I think is who made this? Where do you go after this? Where's
Well, they
the
all
best?
clearly went to Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a bunch of dildo work over at
Yeah,
Cyberpunk.
exactly. That's probably what happened.
Yeah, it's not bad. They all moved to Poland. Anyway, Saints Row bummed me out. Number 2 is gonna be
Poland.
controversial.
That got funnier the more I thought
I
about
know.
it.
Oh, the land of Poles.
Literally.
Makes sense.
Number 2 is going to be controversial. I know that. I know as I'm saying this is going to be stupid and people are going to be irritated with me. I was disappointed in Elden Ring, but I 100% know this is a me problem. All right? I want to make this clear. Elden Ring, for whatever reason, my brain, my synapses, my ability to produce dopamine when I want to, just never clicked quite like it did for everyone else I ever talked to or met. Everyone else had this amazing, life-altering experience. I felt like I was drudging in that game, and I didn't enjoy most of my time in it.
I hear so many keyboards typing. Right
I
now.
know, and
So many
I
people
want them to
talking
know.
back.
I want them to know. You don't even need to try
The
to convince
second
me.
biggest disappointment in all of gaming in 2022 is Elden Ring. I'm just repeating it to make sure you heard it right. That's
I
all.
just-
I'm not gonna comment.
No,
This is
you don't want
your-
to. You don't. Yeah,
this is your list.
It's my list.
and
sure.
you're entitled to put whatever
Hey,
you want on it.
I think this list is going to be controversial, so I'm all for it.
All
Get
right.
in there, Scott.
All right, well, I'm digging in then. Elden Ring for me. You know, everyone said, "Oh, it's like a big, serious Breath of the Wild." I never felt that, and I loved Breath of the Wild with one exception: stupid weapon breaking.
The weapons
Hey,
don't break. in
weapons
this
didn't break.
That's
in,
true, and that's why I was so
Elden
excited.
Ring.
I was like, "Hey, I don't have to worry about that." And it's not necessarily, you know what? It's a Souls-like problem for me. There's a bunch of psychology around it. We've talked about this a million times, like just the people that are like so into, you know, the try hard mentality, or the even though Bo kind of debunked that in his playthrough of the game, but still there's this like stigma around it, right?
Well, I don't know that people agree with me.
Well,
but it
people
certainly-
don't. You're right.
Certainly gets the keyboards going.
Yeah, that one does get keyboards going, I guess. But for
Elden
me, I
Ring's a
just
crazy game.
didn't see it the way other people did, and I know that in life there are lots of things that may be hugely popular to a big portion of the population, and then there's going to be outliers. In this case, I'm an outlier, and it bums me out that I'm an outlier because I would really like to enjoy it. I don't know why I had this problem. I'm clearly in the wrong in terms of the percentages because everybody else and their dog loves this
Do
game.
you still own it, or did you return
No,
it?
I have it. I have it on Xbox. I have it on Series X.
All right, I'm gonna put a prediction.
Go.
Maybe not next year. There's gonna be a time where Scott quietly goes back to Elden Ring, outside of the hype, outside of the bubble, outside of the whole thing, and I think it clicks for him.
I would love to argue with that, but I actually think you might be right. This happens to me, so I don't know what that window looks like. It's probably a couple of years, but at some point there's probably a day where I go, "Ooh, I'm in the mood. Let's see if I'm still," and then I'll have a whole I'll flip around. This happens. I think John's probably. I would not put money. I would put money on John in this particular bet, but right now just didn't do it for me. And the third was a game I did not play at all. Unlike Saints Row, where I played a bit and returned it, it was Gotham Knights. I was very excited about this. I was a little nervous leading into it because this is the not the mainline Batman Arkham team. This is the in-between team. These are the ones that did Batman Origins, which is a serviceable game, but it's nowhere nearly as good as the Arkham series, which Rocksteady does. And the Rocksteady games are, classics and amazing. I don't think Gotham Knights I clearly got the kind of, they're once again feeling like an in-between team. From what I can tell, again, I didn't play it. Have things improved? Maybe. But boy, that initial blast of interest just fell in the toilet. Everybody was like, ugh, this is not great. We don't love this. I thought it looked amazing. I was so excited to get this like truly next generation DC-based thing in with all these characters. And it, it disappointed from afar. But again, this could be another game I get on the sale for something cheap in 2 years and go, oh man, I'm sure glad I grabbed it now because it's good.
Yeah, why'd everybody hate this game?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, fully aware that that's possible, but that's my list. John, tell me yours because I'm a little shocked by one of these. Go ahead. What do you got?
Yeah, so a couple things. Let's keep in mind, all three of the games I'm about to name are good video games. All of my biggest disappointments of 2022, not a single one of them is a bad video game. But a game doesn't have to be bad to be disappointing.
That's true.
And that's what I'm aiming to establish here with my list. My number 3 was something else. I changed it recently because it was actually the same as one of the ones on Bo's list. And I figure let's just let him talk about it.
Yeah.
So my new number 3, because I had forgotten it came out, was Tunic. A game that is beloved. A lot of people really loved Tunic. All three of us were excited about it. We wouldn't stop talking about Tunic leading up to that game coming out.
Yeah.
And I can't even put my finger on why I don't like it. There's just something about the way it plays that never clicked with me with the game. Everything else about Tunic, I love. I love the look of it. I love the music. I love the instruction manual art, which just calls back to some of my favorite art styles from like old Legend of Zelda manuals and stuff like that. So much of Tunic is wonderful. I just, for whatever reason, hate playing the game. And I can't I want to like it, and I just don't. And at a certain point, I had to just go, I'm not having fun playing this game, even though I really want to have fun playing this game. And I put it down. And that's pretty disappointing to have a game that you love everything else around except playing it. So
Yeah.
Tunic is my number 3.
That feels a lot like how I felt playing Elden Ring. Funny enough, your description is just about right for how I felt there. And Tunic, I want to get back to Tunic, but I kind of felt similar in Tunic. I'd been so looking forward to that for so many years. Saw the prototype back in like 2012, I think. And I remember thinking, oh man, that game's eventually going to be rad. And then I don't know. I haven't felt drawn to it, but I felt very much like that in Elden Ring. So I think I understand that feeling. So maybe in a few years you'll go, oh, Tunic and I are best friends again. You know,
Could be. Like, there's a strong desire to like that game.
Yeah.
So, I would hope that it would click at some point.
Yeah.
Which I actually feel the same way about number 2 on my list. Warhammer 40k Darktide.
Oh,
This is a
man.
game that we were all very excited about from the moment it was announced. And when it got announced, again, there wasn't much of a trailer. It was, a bunch of shadows on a wall and shooting, and then, by the same creators of Vermintide, here's Darktide. And it's going to be Vermintide in the 40k universe. And I just had visions of big space marines shooting hordes of something.
Yeah.
And it just flashed in my head. And then we learned more about the game, and it wasn't that. And that's okay, because they made a good game. It'll still be fine. It'll still be good.
Sure.
And then we got to play it, and it was a good time. I had a good time playing it, but I was like, man, this feels real feature light. But they said they didn't put everything in this. They said more's coming, so I'll hold off my opinion. And then they did the early launch for people that had pre-ordered it and put it in there. But again, they still said, hey, this isn't everything. And I played it. It didn't play as well as I'd like, and it still seemed real light on stuff. It was like, hey, here's very similar looking settings regardless of where you're going, and you still feels like a lot of melee bashing zombies. And it's like it felt less like moving to the 40k universe and more just like, well, we changed the rats into zombies, which is not a positive move in my opinion. And all of a sudden I was just like, by the time the game actually came out, so this is mine that I haven't really played much of. By the time the game finally came out, full release, although still hearing Bo say this is coming with a lot of the features, I just had lost all interest and steam in it. And to go from unbelievable hype, we're all going to play this together and it's going to be amazing, to, if we never play it, I'll be okay with it. Like,
that's
such
a weird,
crazy fall.
I agree. It is a weird.
Over the
I mean,
course
I've
of
just
the
been
year.
waiting for everyone to want to play. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I think Bo seemed to have the opposite experience. He was like all in and all good and
You guys
everything.
have families and stuff.
Yeah, my thing has mainly
Friggin'
been
families.
like mine's mostly time and remembering that I have it and all of that. But I'm not ready to completely give it up. But I totally get that feeling of like it was a weird release schedule. The truth is, we would have probably felt the same way with Vermintide because Vermintide launched rough. 2 did.
Yeah.
And then they did pretty quickly beef that thing up, and we loved it, but we came at it late. I think maybe this is headed toward the result, and it's possible that dream we all had of playing this with Kyle and stuff is still going to happen. But yeah, that's an interesting one. But I get it. Why I get what you're saying though. I totally get it. Basically, the problem your number 2 is my number 1. The Gotham Knights thing is that same feeling.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, this one thing I was so jazzed about. Now I'm just kind of like, if I never play it, it's fine. I get it.
Yeah, and that's a rough move to go from excitement to indifference. No, it's not good.
I agree.
But my number 1 is Chrono Cross: The Radical Dreamers Edition. On this show, there's been a running, for me anyway, reference, which is, you know, how whenever we talk about Sony and their lack of backwards compatibility, the game I always said was, what if I want to play Chrono Cross again? I need my backwards compatibility. I got to have a way to play Chrono Cross. Is my go-to game for why I needed Sony to support backwards compatibility. And then they announced they were putting out a special edition of the game. I was so excited. And they were putting the Radical Dreamers in with it, which was a kind of text adventure semi-sequel to Chrono Trigger that came out only in Japan. And there's a lot to love. The game itself is still a phenomenal game, but it is a lazy-ass port of the game. It doesn't run well, and it's an old game, and it needs to be able to just run well and have a decent frame rate. And it is a game that gets killed by frame rate, and they never fixed it. They just put it out and said, "Oh, that's it," and they washed their hands of it. And it's
so they're done.
Such
That's
a
not
bummer.
getting a pat. You know, there's no.
Near as I can tell, there's no patch. Now, you know, fans will do what fans do, and I'm sure you can probably mod it from something that fans do, but it just sucks that so many Square Enix properties get re-releases that are just half-ass money grabs.
They just turn on
And-
compatibility mode and call it a day, basically.
Yeah. And it's sad because you see so much effort being made with like, look, we updated the art and look at these new sprites and look at these high-res models, and it's like, all you got to do on top of it is just make sure the game runs well. Like, just do it. And they didn't. And so it was heartbreaking because I thought I was going to PS1.
PS1, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
should run like a dream on the Switch, right?
You would think.
Yeah.
You'd think it. Well, and I don't know. I played it on the PC. Maybe the Switch is okay, but I think I heard it was even worse on the Switch.
That
So,
wouldn't surprise me.
um,
If they're not going to optimize for PC, they're definitely not going to optimize on the Switch, probably.
yeah, it's a shame because it is one of my all-time favorite games, and I was so looking forward to streaming a playthrough of it, and I gave up in the middle of it because it was just frustrating to play.
You're on a desert island. They hand you either Chrono Trigger or Chrono Cross, and that's the only one you can ever have forever. Which one do you take?
Chrono Trigger.
Okay, same.
Yeah.
Even though I have only played like the first 20 minutes of it, I liked what I played.
Wow.
I know, right? It's one of my game
Like more than
shame
good.
games. That's a game I should have played when it was, new, and I never did. And now I've got it, on my Steam Deck ready to rock. And I played 20 minutes, and then my Steam Deck broke, and I had to wipe everything, including that save. It's only 20 minutes, so I can do it again. But anyway, that's the worst thing, by the way, about the Steam Deck thing. When you send it back to the factory, you have to wipe the drive. And I did that, but then kind of hit me. I'm like, oh my gosh, all my retro stuff was on there, like thousands of games, and all my saves. I forgot to back that stuff up. So,
Oh, no.
yeah, so that sucked. I was very unhappy about that. Thankfully, a lot of retro games are not the kind of games you need saves for anyway. It's not like long form stuff,
No,
but these
that's
RPGs and things, they're big. So anyway,
Well, if you're playing Final Fantasy 2 and you were halfway through, that's a lot of time.
yeah, that's a chunk of change. every day.
Original, not the sped up auto battler version.
No. Bo, tell us So there's John's list.
Oh.
Joe, Bo, tell us about your huge exhaustive list here that you've got here.
I've only put one on here
Hmm.
because I made much ado about this in 2021 in anticipation for its release. You got a moment to guess. Have you guessed? It's Lost Ark.
Yeah, I remember you.
And I actually enjoyed this game quite a bit, to continue on with John's theme of these are not bad games. I love 8-button Diablo. In fact, I'm a little disappointed Diablo 4 has only got 4 buttons. 8 buttons is great. I got enough brain space to handle 8. Give me 8 inputs, please.
Yeah,
I guess I'll live with it.
How was people's general thoughts about that, though? Did everyone, was it a consensus that 8 buttons was cool? And
I don't think people talked about it the way I did because it's that hybrid of ARPG and MMO, or MMO ARPG. So it's like the World of Warcraft player in you is like, there's not a lot of buttons in this game, but the Diablo player or MOBA player in you is like, wow, 8 buttons.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
And it's like I don't know if they even use that potential, but I just like the idea of it's rotation, right? Like it's like the reason why WoW raiding is fun. You learn the rotation, it takes skill and practice and paying attention and moving out of the fire. That's basically this game, which is a good ARPG. I didn't have any issues with that. The big disappointment was the absolute sheer ridiculous monetization tied to grindy, nonsensical quests for this, like you could play 10 hours a week of this game, but we want you to play 60 in order to maximize, the same problem I think even, all MMOs have kind of had. Like I'm hearing Dragonflight's a lot simpler, requiring less time per week to play and keep up with, your dungeon raid progression business.
Yeah. Seems to be.
And like Lost Ark's just like, let's go, and I have experience with this, and many of us have it with Black Desert and Genshin Impact and, Eastern games, Eastern online games. It's a Korean game, South Korean game. Like,
yeah.
The other issue is it does, again, it does this in Black Desert. The way to progress your gear is through rolling random chance. So I can't get to the next zone unless my item level's 640. But my item level's 320. And the only way to do it is to collect resources to gamble. And the closer I get to 640, the lower the odds. And so it's just a grind fest. And that's very disappointing. And I bailed on the game because of it. But otherwise, this is it's a well-made, fantastic video game. Love it. Love some of the moments in it when you're leaping off castle ramparts. So disappointing because I actually would like to play the game just minus all the shite, the absolute trash that this game inflicted on its player base.
My memory is, John, you felt the same, right? Same deal?
Yeah, I this was almost my number 3 for most disappointing for similar reasons. I think I looked at it and said, I want a hybrid MMO Diablo experience, and it kind of delivered on that. I didn't love how it played as much as Bo seemed to, but I didn't hate it either. But then they just kept introducing new systems and new grinds, and when you look at a game, sorry everybody, like Final Fantasy 14, where they're monetized through a subscription, when they throw that shit at you, you look at it and you go, well, this isn't after my money. This is just another thing I can do. But when this is how they get you. You look at it and it feels different. It feels like, ugh, I got to learn this, and I'm going to have to grind this, and this is going to have to be a part of this. And I just hated so much of that extra stuff.
Yeah.
Playing the game, going through the dungeons and all of that, like some really crazy, creative, and amazing things in there, but it just didn't make up for the bad on the other side of it for me.
Nice. Well,
could have been game of the year for me. But I chafe hard at reputation bars. We've talked about it a lot. I chafe hard, just like, reputation bars and gate kept content over waste of time. Like, please waste your life so you can access this content.
Yeah. It's not a great feeling. It's a bummer. You guys basically kept me from playing it because I would follow what you were saying and you'd be like, I was excited about it too. But I remember being excited about it in 2015 when it was just coming out in Korea and Russia. Yeah. And I went, I can't wait this comes to the States. And it took freaking 7 years.
We talked about it a ton over the years.
Yeah.
Like, we were aware of it. You and I were trading. I think we even talked about the show just when it was like, maybe someday it'll come over here.
Yeah.
And it is good. It is everything it looks like. It's fun.
Right.
But I can't
Who was
Can't
that
be
guy?
allowed to come-
Who was that guy in the story? You guys were always. There was some guy in the story that I went and looked up video for, and I didn't even play it, obviously. But there was something about this character that made me laugh every time he did anything. It was super over dramatic. Do you remember this?
Yeah, he was just yelling. He was like, "Help me!"
Yeah, that guy. Help me!
Yeah, he's always yelling everything.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of you guys talking about that game. All right, let's move on to a happy joy time. We'll get this music out again. John is going to talk about his best of the year in his various categories. John, take it away. What do you got here?
My very first category is Best Dear Martha Retro Magazine of 2022. I got to read a bunch of old retro magazines for the changes we did to Dear Martha, and I just figured I'd pick which magazine I had the best experience revisiting. It's kind of not fair, it's kind of nostalgia fueled, and it's kind of obvious. But my favorite magazine to go back to was Nintendo Power #1.
It wasn't video games.
No, it wasn't video games with a capital V. Man, that magazine knew what it wanted to be.
Yep.
And then was filled with toy information for some reason.
Yeah.
But no, Nintendo Power is a magical magazine, especially those early issues of Nintendo Power. If you go back and you look at those, it was just the perfect time. Video games were in a place where having full color maps of their layouts and stuff were so useful, and Nintendo was putting together a magazine that just looked unique and looked good and was so useful to you as a kid. I remember constantly poring over those maps to get through, Simon's Quest and stuff like that, and Super Mario Brothers 2, and finding all the secrets. It was just right time, right place, and right format. And you go back to those magazines and you can put Nintendo Power up against any other magazine that was coming out at that time, and it's completely blows it out of the water, like what they were putting into that magazine as far as like art, images, unique assets. Now, it's a little unfair because they're tied directly to Nintendo, so they're not having to try and get this themselves,
Right.
and put it together. But at the same time, like, what they were putting into that magazine was love, and you felt it.
I agree. That's a perfect pick. I also, just side note, as someone who's on the show every week, I really liked the pivot to this, to what you're doing with Dear Martha right now. I just think it's awesome. And I know it's more work and stuff, so it's, easy for us to all say that, oh yeah, we love these Dear Martha retro magazine things, but they are great. I really enjoy them.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun to do. I also wanted to give an award for Wallet Killer of 2022. We talked so much about microtransactions and gotcha mechanics and ways the game companies are coming after your money. I figured I'd give an appropriate nod to the company and the game that was the most successful this year at it, and that is Fortnite.
Fortnite!
A game that, in general, I think Fortnite actually is pretty fair when it comes to like its battle pass and a lot of its practices. Like,
Yeah, keep in mind, by the way, John is speaking for the Jagger household, not the, hey, I'll bet the whole world thing. We might say Diablo Immortal, or we might say some other game. But you're
right,
saying
this is what stole
you.
money from my
This is
wallet,
what took money
not
from you.
the wallets of the world collectively.
John's speaking about his own.
I didn't spend a cent on Diablo Immortal, so if that game got you, well, that's on you. This is the game
These
that
are
got
our
me.
best, because we can't really talk about things we didn't experience. So it's hard to say God of War is the best game if you didn't play it. for
Yeah,
example.
good point.
Right.
But I have a real problem with we talk about areas where game companies can be predatory. Turns out I have a real problem with artificial scarcity and limits, and when they put a new skin in the store and they go, it's here for a day. If you want to buy it, you can buy it. I go, I gotta buy it right now. And I freak out a lot, and I spent an obscene amount of money on Marvel skins because they put all the Marvel character skins in the store the other day.
Nice.
Oh no!
Oh,
So
boy.
was this a late winner? Like, was it all clear till a week ago?
Yeah, no, it wasn't all clear, but like all of a sudden I was like, well, I guess I know what I'm getting myself for Christmas this
You
year.
bought the $80 Fortnite skin bundle of Marvel characters? or
Bo,
no?
it was more than $80.
Holy shit! Do we want to know?
Oh shit! We got a Star Trek. We got a Star Trek Online level purchase happening.
Oh
here.
man,
I bought a lot of skins.
I don't want to like pry.
There's no shame. Let's not shame. I don't want. And I'm probably the most likely.
It had to
do that
be over
inadvertently.
$100 worth of
Under
skins.
$100 worth of skins.
I spent $100
Okay.
And
to
other
snap
things,
at
not
launch.
just like here's the Iron Man skin, the Captain America skin, and all of that, but like, you know, between
How much?
the pickaxes and the backgrounds and the dances and
Sure.
the flyers and all of that, it was probably over $100.
Damn.
I mean, I spent 100. I'm in for over 100 at this point because I buy the season passes. And
But
Snap.
this was
Oh,
one
yeah.
store update. They update the store every day, and they've gotten me a couple times. So
every day. Like, just new-
every day.
Is it rotational product or just new product?
It is rotational. So
But
I
they
have
do the
now
thing
played
where it's
Fortnite
like-
long enough to see the same skins coming back into the store.
But they do the thing that Snap does, where it's like you can only buy that card art this day, because they create the artificial scarcity. You
Yeah.
never know when Chibi Agent Coulson's going to be back around.
Yeah, and then they even sometimes will do a category that they go, hey, hasn't been out of the vault for a year, you know, and they'll just, here's some things that based on the rotation never came back into play. Do you want to get it now? Because it was a year. And that also puts in the back of your mind, well, what if the thing I want is going to be gone for a year if I don't do it right now? So it got me, but I also had a really wonderful time with Fortnite.
Side note: would you, if we had categories for this, we don't, but if we did have a most fun that we personally had in multiplayer this year, would you give it to Fortnite?
Oh, easily. I'm having a blast. I still play it every day.
Interesting.
Got a crowned victory royale today with my wife
Nice.
on her lunch break.
This is the toughest category to get
It
through
is
by
with your
far.
wife, yeah, especially.
We were such little Fortnite haters before.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm still so hesitant, but John is slowly getting me interested. I mean, for me, it was Overwatch 2, but you know, who knows? Maybe I would have had the time of my life and no build Fortnite if I'd.
Oh yeah, and it has to be no build. No build is where it's at.
Yeah. You're not wrong about that.
Next category
Yeah.
is best Netflixing game of 2022. This means the best game to play while watching something actively on another screen.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have questions about this one.
No, Netflix and chill is something else.
So
This is
Netflix and game
Netflix and
just
game.
means Netflix and game.
Yes,
Like,
this literally means watching Netflix and gaming.
Okay. There's no second meaning
But
or double meaning.
is it
There's
always
no second meaning.
Okay.
is it always Netflix or is it any stream?
No,
What are the
it's
rules?
usually YouTube, to be honest. But YouTube doesn't have a fun sex
So you pick
reference
Netflix
name.
because it is a sex reference.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's true.
Mm,
Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell us more. What did you Netflix in game? Wink, wink.
I went with Vampire Survivors because this gets to the crux of why I like Vampire Survivors better than all the other ones that Scott recommended to me over the year.
Yeah.
Vampire Survivors is the perfect game to I mean, honestly, it could apply to either category because it only takes one hand. You know what I mean?
I mean, this is
and
the one thing I will say in Vampire Survivors. So I'm not in a relationship, but when I was, I would get girls like, well, I shouldn't say girls in that way. That sounds very boomer, but I would deliver the back massage, right? You're sitting on the couch watching. There's no hanky panky going on. There's no chilling in the Netflix and chill.
Right.
But you know, we're watching TV. I don't really. It's like, what is it? So you think you can dance? Like this is clearly her show, and I just have to endure it politely. And I'm giving a back massage. So the other hands, you know, used to be mobile games, right? Like at least I can split my attention three ways.
Yeah,
I got the
yeah.
back massage. Oh yeah, that dance was super awesome. And then I'm playing the game. And Vampire Survivors, because you only need one hand, is perfect. You fulfill
yeah, you can
husbandly
do
duties.
so many things.
and yet
So many
not have to be fully there in spirit.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Plus, you can pause
And,
it. It's a good pausable game. I found.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Works great.
And is the pause on the same side as that controller?
Yeah.
You meant to
No.
stretch a little.
But you
do a
can
little
also hit the escape keys
Yeah.
right there. It's fine.
Yeah, that's true.
Perfect. All right, sorry I interrupted your segment, but I had a lot of questions about
No. That's all
Netflix and
fair.
gaming.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the perfect. It's the perfect experience when you want your attention more on what we always call the second screen experience, right? Like, there are games you play where, sure, you might have something on a second monitor or something like that, but you know your attention has to mostly be on the game. This is the other way around. This is when you want to watch the show, but you want to play a game at the same time.
Nice.
So, Vampire Survivors was perfect for that.
You do have a free hand though. If you
Yeah,
get
you
one
got
of
a
those
free hand
exercise
if you want.
machines where you
You
can
could do that. Yeah.
Yeah. You get a little squeeze
There
ball.
are so many things you can do with the free hand. The sky's the limit.
I got a little squeeze ball man here that I can squeeze. See?
Yeah,
Oh my
Scots
God.
can squeeze
he's-
balls.
because he's a man shape. It's a little like horrifying.
Well, he's
Yeah,
a little.
It's like a Stretch Armstrong.
Yeah. Did you have
gone
Stretch
wrong.
Armstrong when you were a kid? That's what this is like.
No.
I knew people that had Stretch Armstrong, but I always saw him like after one too many combat missions, and I knew the way it was going.
Well, and here's the thing: when you have Stretch Armstrong as a kid, the temptation to cut him open and find out what's inside is immeasurably strong. You
Yeah.
just have to do it, and so you would only go so long before you're like, get a blade, we're doing this, and you'd open it and you
I'm gonna
realize,
cut you, Stretch.
and you've unleashed the most sticky, horrible, like that scene in Christmas Vacation where Chevy Chase can't get the magazine to stop sticking to him, his wife's hair's all sticky and all that, because he's working in the sap of the tree. It's like that, and it will be like that for months. My mom almost gave me up when I opened Stretch Armstrong and stuck it to everything in the freaking house. Anyway, there's that story. John, best game you didn't play.
Yeah, I also did one of these. God of War Ragnarok. Stole a damn PS5 to play this game, and I still haven't played it yet, but I'm going to, and I know I'm going to like it. I know it probably belongs on my list somewhere, but I didn't play it this year, so God of War Ragnarok, maybe we'll
Wow.
see you next year for best
Who
game
had
I
time to
didn't
play? Who had time to play God of War Ragnarok? We're all waiting for that speech to end.
It's still going. Yeah, Christopher Judge still up on stage, still letting
Did
it
you
rip.
see he tweeted something about it, acknowledging he knows. He's in on the joke
Oh,
now,
yeah, he
and that
knows.
makes me feel better about it.
It was
also-
kind of sorry, not sorry though.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I deserved it.
Every time somebody points out that it was only 7 minutes, I think they're lying. It felt longer to me. There's no way it was only 7. But
I mean, a
that's what they keep saying.
7-minute speech at any award show is it's like, thank you for the award. Thank God, my family and my manager, whatever. Goodbye. Like,
Yeah,
easy.
he really stayed up there.
It's all about the elder abuse. Of Al
Al
Pacino.
Pacino.
That's what really bothered me.
The elder abuse.
Have your speech for as long as you want, but you better bring Al Pacino a chair before you do it.
Yeah.
Or
That's
somebody
awesome.
on staff. If that kid who showed up at the end would have gotten so much more kudos if instead of doing that thing at the end, he ran up and gave Al Pacino a freaking chair to sit down.
Yeah, man. Something.
Yeah.
He would have been
Or
a hero.
we couldn't have been as mad at him if he waited through all 9 minutes of that speech instead of the Elden Ring one. He'd be
Yeah.
like, you know what? He earned his moment to talk about Bill Clinton. Good on him.
I'm a little more worried about whatever he does next than I was about what he did. That's all I'm. How do you top your freaking fame crave? You know?
I don't know, but I'm sure he'll think of something.
Yeah, I don't want to help him with any ideas. That kid still annoys me. All right. I'm with you, by the way, on Ragnarok. I have a damn PS5. Why have I not played that? It's
I know.
stupid.
What's up?
Stupid.
You're the one who has it. You didn't have to steal it. You own one.
I own the box. I don't have the game. Carter, my daughter bought the game, and she's in freaking Iceland. And the game's here. She
Well,
can't
that
even
means
play
she's
it.
playing it in real life.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, sorry. Move
My
on.
final category.
Yeah,
Final.
yeah. Well, sort of.
The best and worst non-Final Fantasy 14 Final Fantasy of 2022. You knew there had to be a Final Fantasy category on here because I won't stop talking about those games, and I played a lot of them this year. So I of the ones I played this year, I'm going to give what I thought was my worst experience and what I thought was my best experience. And it's going to be controversial.
Oh, boy.
So if you have strong opinions about Final Fantasy IX, get ready because here it comes.
All right, I'm ready.
The worst Final Fantasy that I played in 2022, Final Fantasy IX.
Oh,
Which is considered
Yeah.
by many to be one of the best Final Fantasies
Tell them, you
ever
tell
made.
them.
Yeah,
you
let
tell
'em
'em.
rip.
Every time that comes up, they're like, really, you should have played Final Fantasy IX. I'm glad that you're the first to be like, yeah, it's a skip, dude.
yeah, skip it.
It is unfortunate because if you had asked me before I started playing all of it, John, what's your favorite Final Fantasy from all of them? 9 would have potentially been my answer.
Right.
I think it has one of the greatest casts of any Final Fantasy as far in terms of characters. I think its art style is great. It's the first one, like big cutscenes existed in Final Fantasy for a while, but it's the first one that started applying like cinematography and movie making techniques to their cutscenes. It has some amazing emotional resonance on some of the stories. And unfortunately, the systems that they have built around this game are just not very good or interesting. It is my least favorite to play
Okay.
of them. And I had to play it twice.
Yeah, you did.
That
That's
probably
right.
didn't do it any favors either because it is the Final Fantasy I lost the save on and had to go through the game 2 times.
That's right. But look how
John-
dedicated you were to your stream audience, man. You were like in it to win it. You were going to do it no matter what.
John is choosing violence. It's like daggers in the ears of and betrayal. And everyone who's like super supportive of his Final Fantasy love.
Yeah.
That's all right. I
Yeah,
still get.
you know,
I might
harm.
get him back with my favorite. So we got a chance to turn this around. A
All
little
right.
bit.
What did you before you tell us that one? What did you enter the year as what you thought was your favorite versus what it became, or is it the one you thought it would be?
I think 9. I thought going into the year 9 would be my favorite one to play.
Interesting.
I
Total.
really did. I love 9.
It's the most anime looking out of all the key arts. And
It's
stuff.
really, and so much of it is good. The music is so good. And again, the cast. I'll take the cast of 9 over 7 over 8. Any of them.
Whoa,
like
whoa.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
More violence.
Like
more violence.
they are more
More
interesting.
violence.
You know, it is a better
Leave
group
7
of
out of any
people.
conversation. This is how you're gonna treat the 7.
Chat room's great. They're like pitchfork. Someone else said John is Sylvanas. Oh man, it's getting dark.
Burn it down.
Yeah.
Burn it, I said.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about the best Final Fantasy of the year. Final Fantasy VI.
Oh, I did not
This-
expect that. I don't know why.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can support this. This one's. Oh, you speak. It's your thing.
Bo's like, no, good list, John. Good list. He's doing it. Final Fantasy VI was the one that I had played probably the least of besides 15, which I've played none of. But going into it, I think I'd maybe played through the intro once or twice on the Super NES when it was known as Final Fantasy III. And I didn't know much about it, and I didn't know what to expect. And I even had a rough time getting into it because this game is a little slower and a little more challenging than a lot of the other ones. But once it clicked, Final Fantasy VI is where this series took a shift. Up to this point, there had been crazy stories. 4 is a crazy story. You go to the moon. Like, you're from the moon. You're related to the big bad guy. Like, there's a lot of cool, weird twists in 4, but it's all very theatrical, like, soap opera-y twists and turns. 6 has a genuinely serious narrative. The stakes are real. The writing is good. The universe is well built. The characters are well developed. 6 is in a different league than everything that came before it. And
Was it the only
because-
SNES game? It was the only 16-bit game, right?
It was the only
No.
SNES one.
Oh,
No.
Oh, I thought that. I thought it
well,
was.
yeah, and,
The only SNES one in North America. Was that right?
Oh.
no,
No.
because 1 through 3 in Japan were NES, and
Yeah.
only
Oh,
1
yeah.
came out here,
Right,
and
right.
4 through 6 were SNES and
You're
4
right.
and 6 came out here.
That's right. I'm
Oh,
remembering 2 is on SNES, like NA2 is on SNES, and then NA6 is on SNES.
it's
Yeah.
the one I like the look of the most. I like some of the modern stuff, obviously, but I of all the old games, I think the look of 6 is
Like 6 is the
Awesome.
best pixel art
Yeah.
version because they knocked it off with the pixel art after 6. So
Yeah.
we went to 7, and
right.
it's the best example of their pixel art.
I
work.
agree. I kind of missed that.
I think one of the most mind-blowing things playing that at the time of playing it, when it felt like the map had been fully discovered, the story was going on, and then it's one of the first games I ever experienced where the world changed, like WoW Cataclysm, and you're just like, oh, I'm only 50% through this game.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of mind-blowing to be like, I've got a whole map to rediscover what all the changes are, and there's way more game than I thought there was gonna be. I remember when I first played it and I first realized that in that moment, I was mind blown.
No.
Yeah. And I mean, it deals with heavy themes. You go from that shift in the world to dealing with a story of what's it like to be in a devastated world? What's it like emotionally to lose your friends and be isolated? To have tried and failed, dealing with loss, that sort of stuff. Like, it deals with very mature themes. It's just the pinnacle of everything up to it. And even though I would say 7 continues that trend of moving themes and story and all of that to a higher level than what had come before, 7 is still handicapped a little by, you can tell they're trying to figure out how to program for the PlayStation. There's some rough stuff in 7.
Early goings
And
there, yeah.
and 7, 8, and 9 are kind of in that same boat, like, of figuring out what the series is, which is part of the reason why I thought 9 was gonna be one of my favorites. Was I thought it was gonna be for PlayStation what 6 was for SNES, which was the perfection of that formula on its system. And I think it almost does, but it drops the ball in a really big way with gameplay and systems. But 6 just excels at everything. It even has some trappings of like open world games. Before that was a thing that was common. You can tackle certain things in 6 in whatever order you want, which puts in this element of exploration. And like, let's just go see what's out there and discover what's in this world. It's just a crazy good game for a Super Nintendo game. It's kind of unbelievable how much stuff is in it.
Well, it makes me want to get the pixel remaster of that. I will say this: the version I started playing and got pretty far in before I lost all my saves with the Steam Deck reset was the GBA version of that game. It's very good. The Game Boy Advance version is very good, and I like the aspect ratio a little better than the original. So, if you're not getting the pixel remaster, it's probably a good place to start if you're out there listening. Very nice, John. What else you got? Oh, that was it for that category.
That's it. Those are my categories for the year.
Nice. Now, how about our favorite non-2022 game for the year of 2022, meaning games that came out before it that we may either have played, picked up, or beaten? Well, it turns out we have a few, and so we're going to do those now. Hold on. Here's the thing for that. Some upbeat, drawful music. All right, here's my list. Number 1, Cyberpunk 2077. I think that game is in a really great place right now, and that's why I played it this year. And I beat it, and I loved it, and I'm excited about that DLC. The anime helped as well, got me all hyped for it, and for all the reasons I've said on the show 100 times, I think Cyberpunk 2077 was ultimately a success, and was for them financially. So they still got more to come. Anyway, good game. Number 2 is one I haven't even talked to you guys about yet, and I keep forgetting to bring it up, but I finally played Hot Wheels Unleashed, a 2021 release.
I keep seeing this game on Steam, and I get scared away by the reviews, but it looks excellent.
It's really fun. I mean, you're not going to get the most advanced racer of all time, but you are going to get a game where all the cars are these rad little Hot Wheels cars, and you're racing on these tracks, and there's real beefy physics and great drift mechanics. If I had to compare it to anything, it would be like, honestly, it's kind of Mario Kart-y in terms of its control schemes. It's not meant to be serious sim or anything. But it feels really good just whipping around corners and beating all these cars, and you got limited use of some turbo and unlock new cars and all that. The one thing people complain about, and I understand why, it has blind boxes that you open when you clear levels. So you're doing kind of Overwatch 2016 kind of loot boxing. That feels antiquated and weird, but that's just the world we live in, I suppose. But the actual gameplay and the progression and the campaign, and then you can go build like crazy tracks, like pick the living room set and then go build an insane track in the living room. You can upload your creations. Other people upload theirs. You can play the top ones. It's got a bunch of that going on. Multiplayer's fun. I played a bunch of that. I think Hot Wheels Unleashed is like legitimately a fun arcade racer that's worth playing. And looks great too.
Big time sale on Steam. Normal price $66 Canadian. It's on sale for $16 right now.
Oh yeah, totally good deal.
Pretty steep, 75% off.
Yeah, that's a good price. I got it for I don't remember when I got it. It was a different sale and it was some time ago, but I finally cracked it open and was really surprised how much I liked it. Runs beautifully on Steam Deck and PC and otherwise. It's very good. Hot Wheels Unleashed was my number 2. My third is recent. The Witcher 3 Next Gen update is great. It looks great. I only have a couple of complaints, and that is there's like a weird mismatch of quests that I have on one platform and I don't have on the other one, and so it won't let me use some of my shared saves. And I'm still trying to work that out because now I'm current. The new sale was back down to $10 again, so I did the thing. And now I've got equivalent full-blown versions with all the DLC on console and on PC. And going back and forth is a problem because it says, you're missing these 3 quest lines. I'm like, how's that possible? They're exactly the same package now. They're the Game of the Year edition with the full DLC. I don't know what else is there. So maybe I have to start. Maybe I started a quest on one I shouldn't have before I saved. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. But the other aspects of forget about cross-save stuff for now, but the other aspects that they put in here are very nice. The ray tracing stuff on PC and console look amazing. Even better on PC because you can get up to the 60-plus frame rate, whereas some of that stuff's locked to 30 on console. But the 60 to 120 frame mode on console looks amazing. It feels like I'm playing a game that just got proper remaster treatment. I'm nothing but positive about it. And I recommend it highly. Oh, if you're having trouble running it on Steam Deck since the update, I've learned a trick. You basically just, in the little launcher menu, change it from DirectX 12 to 11, and it'll all work fine. I don't know why that is. 12 usually works fine with most games. There's something going on there. But anyway, I really like it. It's a very nice thing. And I wanted to just give it an admiring mention of Pentiment, because that thing is cool. And I know it came out this year. It came out this year, so it's like totally even the wrong place to put it. But that game's great.
But here's an award for
an award for it anyway. John, tell me
it came out in ye olden times, so it is it counts.
There you go. Tell me your 3 for the non-2022 games of the year.
Yeah, number 3 is going to be Slay the Spire. I heard everybody talk about this for the longest time. As Bo would call it, it's the best in slot for card battlers of what it is. And yeah, it turns out there's a reason everybody talks about Slay the Spire. It's a very good game. Yeah. I feel like I'm the last person on earth to play it, so not a lot to say there. It's as good as everybody says.
Yeah.
Number 2, Return of the Obra Dinn. This, it's kind of criminal this isn't one, because Return of the Obra Dinn is going to go down as one of my all-time favorite video games ever. It is perfect at what it is setting out to be and do. It's a game, I've mentioned it on the show before, I just think about every now and then. I will just get the music stuck in my head, or I will just think about the things that I have seen in this world. I feel like as retro as its graphics were, there were times where that game just blew me away with the things it was showing me visually. And it's a game that haunted me, freaked me out at times, but was always engrossing and always cool and always thoughtful. I cannot say enough about Return of the Obra Dinn. Everybody should try it.
Can't wait for whatever his 3rd game is. It takes forever, but that guy, what's his name?
Philip
the guy
Pope
or whatever.
And
yeah, he's amazing.
He made one for that handheld game with the crank on it.
Oh, right,
He made a game for that.
Yeah, the Playdate. I really want to get one of those. Still, they're still like in phase 2 of shipping to people who pre-ordered years ago or something. They're probably not even worth it, but I would like to see what he did over there. But yeah, whatever his next mainline thing is, Papers, Please, still one of my favorite games of all time. Oberdin's amazing. I need to finish it. But whatever that dude makes, Lucas Pope, I think is his name.
That's it. You got it.
That guy's a genius. Anyway.
And my number one game of 2022 that didn't come out in 2022, unsurprisingly, Cyberpunk 2077. This game is a testament to expectations versus, reality, because I don't think any of the criticisms I levied at Cyberpunk back when it first came out don't apply. I think they were all right at the time. But I think what changed was my expectation for what that game should be, and also it worked a lot better. But I went into Cyberpunk the second time this year, expecting it to be the world that Edge Runners had shown me. And with those fresh eyes and expectations, and a game that actually ran well, it was a real treat. That is a story and a world that I want to revisit. I got into Fortnite because I needed to get away from the big story, and now I'm starting to go like, all right, I could dig into a meaty game again with story and a world and all that. And for whatever reason, the only thing that I want to play right now is Cyberpunk 2077 again. So it's crazy how good that game is, and the fact that I put it over Return of the Obra Dinn should tell you something with how much fun I had it. Because, man, it's solid.
And you're looking forward to that DLC, right? Like the rest of us?
Yeah.
Me too. Bo, what landed for you in other years that you played this year?
So, top games that I played that were not of the year 2022 released. First one was Half-Life Alyx. That game was a game changer. I've talked about it a lot on the show, but
we should call this the year of Jesus wept, or the year of VR for Bo.
Yeah, because it's the year of after Scott. Scott was their VR guy for a while, and they were like, yeah, and I became a convert pretty much overnight, strapping that thing on.
Yeah, I
had the Rift S. I actually have 2 VR headsets, but it is a big jump in quality and fidelity and just awesomeness that it was better than I was imagining it was going to be. And Half-Life Alyx, I've enjoyed most of what I've tried, but a lot of it still feels low budget, hacky. We're still figuring things out. But Half-Life Alyx is a a full price box product in VR can do, and it lives up to it. It's fun, immersive, scary, funny, and just plays great. It's a compulsory purchase if you get a headset. IMHO.
Do you think it had the effect of showing other devs and people interested in VR how to do it? In other words, like this is the level you can aim for. It doesn't all have to be janky. You could do this.
Yeah, it sets the bar. I mean, not in every way because it's a genre game. Like it's a shooter, not survival, but kind of survival horror, shootery, interactable game. But it works so well. I think the biggest issue is like a lot of we don't have standards. Like controllers have standards, right? Like why do controllers have bumpers? Why is there a start select? Like there was an era when we were playing Atari where that wasn't settled as what a standard was going to be.
Yeah.
And I think VR is a lot more complicated. I think VR works best in the intimate space, not in the distance. There's a lot of gimmicky stuff that works in flat screen that we're still trying to emulate, like HUDs. Like this game does HUDs beautifully. Everything's on your hands. There's no HUD. I've played so many VR games. It's got like a health bar and score, and I'm like, when I look this way, it moves this way, and I'm like, why are you making me do this? This is not flat screen. Don't put HUD. Although I will say, Iron Man VR did HUD really well, actually. And Iron Man VR, it's not on my list, but that was actually a game that did one of the few games that does VR HUDs good. But everything was on the hands. Everything was just richly animated in the way that you played Portal. It's when you play those games, it's surprising how much detail goes in. For example, in most VR games, when you go to violate a person's personal space, I know this sounds weird, just but bear with me. Either your hands pass through the NPCs, or there's like an invisible force wall that doesn't allow you to, mess with NPCs. In this game, not that there's very many NPCs, there's one, but he looks at you like, "What the hell are you doing?" They didn't have to do this. They could have just made it so you can't interact with the person, but the person legit looks at you like, "Get your hands off me, perv." And he's like an old guy too. But I'm just like, I want to see what happens when I touch his nose, and it legit reacts in a detailed way, like someone who's like, I feel like I've really irritated someone, and their opinion of me has diminished greatly. It's little shit like that in this game that makes it great. There's a window and a set of markers, and you can just draw on the window with the set of markers. Like, most games are like, "Oh, we're a racing game. We don't got time for this other shit. Let's just put the racing stuff in, and we're good."
Yeah.
Half-Life puts a lot of details in the weird sides of things, and that showcases the potential. It's not just there because it's weird. It also showcases the potential for things in VR. So, by far, the fact that it was VR is what gives it a lot of points to be the best thing. But it was the most impactful game I played in 2022. Even like, yeah. So this is by far the best one.
That's some high praise of a VR product.
Yeah.
So number two would definitely not be VR, right? This would be a totally
number
non-VR.
two is also a VR game.
Oh, okay, great.
It's Skyrim VR. Definitely a non-2022 game. Old. I can't believe how much new life, the 526 mods I downloaded for this thing. I spent more time playing the modding game than the actual game. A lot of research went into what mods to install in what order and what software to get, et cetera, et cetera. But when I finally got it smoking, it's so cool, dude. Again, the same reason as Half-Life Alyx, the VR mods make it so I think one of the coolest things to do in VR, I know this is going to make me seem like a terrible person, but I'm just being honest, is to sneak up on somebody, which you can do in Skyrim. Thieving and assassination, the Dark Brotherhood is a thing in this game. But it feels so much different when you're literally crouched and you walk up behind a man or a woman. Can't kill kids in this game without them. I didn't put that mod.
You can do that in High on Life, but
there's a mod for
there's
that.
an achievement for it.
Yeah.
No, but there is an actual mod for it. I'm pretty sure, but I didn't install that one. But
There's
you
a
can
mod for
go
everything.
up behind somebody, put your hand on their mouth. They struggle, and put the blade in their back, and then watch their lifeless corpse fall to the ground. I know it sounds terrible. But we do this in video games all the time.
It didn't until you went so deep on the description.
The reason I say this is because the violence feels different when you press like your mouse button and take a life in a video game. It feels like
Yeah.
In this one, I feel like this is about as close to actually stabbing somebody in real life. Like, it's emotional. It's visceral. I feel something when I do it. I know it's not cool, but it's cool. I guess it's cool in the same way Strange Days, that James Cameron written, Catherine Bigelow directed film, was like when they put the squids on and they're experiencing real like robberies and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little bit of that Strange Days where you're squidding, where you're I mean, I could talk about VR forever, about just video experiences you can have on there, but in a video game form, to be like, just to do that and be like, I don't know, do I really want to join the Dark Brotherhood? I'm legit going to be sneaking into people's houses and ending their life.
Yeah.
Because a dark god wants me to. Awesome. So cool. So Skyrim VR, it just takes it into a new dimension with the mods. Love that game. So
Awesome.
second best experience this year.
Very nice.
Moving on. I told myself I wasn't going to spend a lot of time on VR. I was going to say the names and get to moving, but goddamn, these two experiences are great.
Sure.
The third best game I played this year was Divinity Original Sin 2. I love that game.
That's so good.
I played hardcore with a single character, died in Act 1, died in Act 2, restarted, died in Act 3, cheated, still then died in Act 3, and that's about where I'm at. I started making my way yet again through Divinity Original Sin 2. I put a ton of hours into this hardcore run of mine over the year, and this game is just the pinnacle of CRPGs, in my opinion, and I love it.
I cannot wait for Baldur's Gate 3 to be done. Freaking finish that game so we can play it for real. I know I can play it now. It doesn't feel right, you know?
Yeah.
I need it to be done.
Yeah.
All right. Great list. Lots of VR. Jesus wept. It's all good. Let's now talk about...
your personal list. Let's do more.
Yeah, it's my personal list. I promise this time I'll be quick. So my first category is top 3 VR games. And it'll be quick because guess what the number 1 top VR game this year was?
What?
Half-Life Alyx.
Oh, weird.
The second one, Skyrim VR.
Oh, weird.
So I'm gonna go through these quick and not
How's the
belabor
murder in Skyrim VR?
It's pretty good murder.
It
right?
is such good murder. It's the best murder in video games, pretty much.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, also maybe I shouldn't. So one of the mods makes some of the women's breasts a little more ample than they are in the baseline game.
Weird.
I installed the pack. It came with the pack.
It's a VR bug.
I didn't seek it out. But one of the hilarious things is sometimes the boobs are a little bigger than the clothes, and so you'll walk into the bar and they'll just have like a boob out. You're like, whoa. Wow. And the other fun thing too is it actually I think there's like some basic stuff for sex mods in Skyrim, which I'm not using, but it still gives men ample penises and balls. And when you loot the clothes, the corpses are naked, and I'd often forget, and I'd be streaming, and I'd loot the corpse, and then I just big penis and balls in my face. I'm like, whoa, I forgot if I take off but it's realistic if I take his clothes, the corpse is naked. So that was also, anyways, it's also, and it is in 3D, so it's literally the wiener's like right here. Whoa.
Wow. And it just came with the pack.
So and I also cast Resurrect Dead on one of those corpses, and a naked guy with naked zombie with his wiener flopping everywhere, and boots. He had boots on. He was naked but had boots, and his wiener's flopping everywhere. And he's running after the guys going to kill the enemy. He died in like one shot.
That's great.
There was so many good moments playing that game.
I feel like if there's a chance to convert John to VR, it's happening right now, this very second.
Yeah, that was the closest. But you
like,
know,
whoa, zombie wieners.
I don't need to be in VR for that.
That's true.
That can happen.
Yeah, this happens now. He's wearing those boots for later. Fantastic.
Yeah. All right. So let me get through this list real quick. I promise. I put Walking Dead: Saints and Sinners, even though I didn't play that much of it because of the murder. The zombies have soft skulls, and I appreciate the mechanics of this game being you have to stick the knife in and then drive it in even harder to make sure you kill the brain. Love that. List of honorable mentions. So if you have a VR headset, people often ask me what should I play. I'm just going to run through the best ones. Demio, amazing. VR Chat, of course, you know, if you're listening to the show, you know that. Star Wars Squadrons is a really the in-between missions not so good, but the actual dogfighting is brilliant in VR. And modded Cyberpunk 2077 is I just need it to run better, but it feels so intimate when you and Jackie are hanging out, being bros. It's awesome. Amidst all the other first-person perspective stuff. All right, there you go. VR done.
Nice.
All right, the other category I had, because I play a ton of early access games, as it turns out, and the 3 from last year that I listed as my top early access games are still in early access, and I still play them. So I wanted to pick new stuff, because there was definitely awesome new stuff to come out in EA this year. Number 1, V Rising. Got a ton of fun out of that. Made a community server. Played, 80 hours. I'm waiting for more content. Love that game. Inspired. Good control scheme.
Agreed.
Quality game.
Yeah. That game's cool.
And did you notice it abbreviates to VR?
Oh shit!
All connected, dude.
VR
It's all
Issing.
connected.
Yeah.
It's all connected.
Wow. All right.
All right.
VR Issing.
Next on the list, Farthest Frontier. I've often spoken praise about Banished, one of my favorite all-time games. And sorry, is it Relic Entertainment? Who's the guys that Grim Dawn guys?
Oh yeah, Grim.
It's those guys.
Crate Entertainment. Yeah, they're great.
Crate Entertainment's behind this. Love Grim Dawn, which I also dug in this year. It didn't make my top list, but their take on Banished is chef's kiss. I really liking what they did so far in EA. Loving it so far.
Yeah.
So if you want a good city sim, city builder sim that is hardcore, but has better graphics than Banished.
Oh yeah, by far. And I grabbed that as well. It's great. It's very good. Yeah. I'm excited for that one. I know they've been updating like crazy, but that's one I just want to see finished.
A lot more to come, but yeah, it's not really based on violence. It's a pure city builder, and there's fail states, which I love.
Yeah.
Omega Strikers was number 3 for me. This is a fantastic. So I was in beta during this period, and when I played most of it, it was not the full launch, so I'm counting it. Omega Strikers, great 3v3 soccer MOBA. It works. It sounds ridiculous. It works. It's super fun. I'm sad I don't play it more. There's just lots of games vying for my attention. This game's easy to pick up. Games are 5 minutes. Fantastic. The art's, it is what it is. Not great, but not terrible. I can get behind.
Why can't I picture
the game
what
itself is fun?
Why can't I picture what Omega Strikers is?
The soccer MOBA.
Is it a soccer MOBA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do I not remember you even talking about this?
It's not really soccer. It's like there's a puck that you kick around, but it's...
Oh, this one. Oh, I installed this and haven't played it because you probably talked me into it and then I didn't do it.
Yeah, this game is one of the best games I played this year. I love it. I have so much fun playing it. It's fun.
Yeah,
I don't think it's ever going to make it big, but maybe it doesn't need to. I don't know. It's awesome.
Okay.
If for what it is, it's free to play. Log in, play a couple games, no biggie. Right?
Yeah, why
it's
not?
Good.
All right.
All right. And I will just mention all the other games on my EA rotation, just to remind those people who might want to hear it. War Tales, Dyson Sphere Program, Valheim.
Yeah.
Love those games.
War Tales is shaping up so good. So good.
Play them all regularly except War Tales that I'm sort of just waiting, although I don't think I can hold out much longer.
Yeah.
The city update looked kind of baller. And
it does look good. Yeah.
I bought that because of how much you guys rave about it, but I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, you'll love it. Yeah. But you may, we're probably close, right? I'll bet they launched this year.
It's a low magic sim. It's not fully voice acted. The graphics, they're decent. They serve the game, but the real juice is not having enough food to feed your company, so you feed them the corpses of the people you slew.
Yeah. Lots of hard choices in it.
If you feed them lots, maybe they become good at cannibalism or something. Like it's managing a company of brigands, essentially, and there's quests and story, and
it's grim dark. I don't even know what to call it, adventure game. Like I don't know what to compare it to.
They call it. It's a low magic company management sim, like a sellsword company management sim.
To me, it's like it's like the Andor of Star Wars TV shows.
Yeah,
it's gritty, it's like, a little more realistic. Nobody's got lightsabers or force powers. It's just dudes trying to get shit done.
I never talked about it on the show, but the best in slot for this genre is a game called Battle Brothers, which I bought, but I didn't really get into it. It's mercilessly hard, apparently. But War Tales is heavily based on Battle Brothers, if you want to look that up. It's there are like orcs and monsters in it, but generally the company you're playing are like a medieval brigand. You can't hire a wizard.
Yeah.
There's no healers that sprinkle heal magic on you. Like it doesn't exist. So part of the fantasy of it is that it's like, what if the three of us just had swords and we'll kill people if people paid us, and that was normal because it's medieval, times.
Right.
And that's the game. So
all right.
Yeah.
Very cool.
All right. Other excellent gaming experiences in 2022. So this is just a list of recommends to recap the year. Gordian Quest.
Agreed.
Awesome card game.
Yep.
Stellar. A lot of mix of a hybrid. It's a hybrid of a lot of genres, but ultimately a card game. Super fun. Which I'm just going to mention this one next. Midnight Suns is pretty much a lot like Gordian Quest. Midnight Suns was an excellent gaming experience. Might make a top list a little later. Dark Tide was good, and Card Shark which
Oh, yeah.
I still have to
Yeah.
get back to, but Card Shark is an inspiring sort of game that takes its subject matter and does something unique with it and special, and it is absolutely aces.
Of all
No
the
pun
weird
intended.
Devolver Digital things that came out this year, by far that is my favorite frontrunner. I
Love
love that
Card
game.
Shark.
It's very
Love
cool.
Card Shark.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, and my last category is games that have been painful to wait for throughout 2023, but I will absolutely buy them 100%.
Yeah.
Because it sucks waiting. All right, Baldur's Gate 3,
Yeah.
waiting forever. Diablo 4, waiting for frickin' ever.
Yeah.
Since Reaper of Souls.
Yeah.
Space Marine 2, finally another
Yeah.
Space Marine.
Woo!
And Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth.
Hell yeah.
I'd probably buy a PlayStation 5 just to play that one game if it's an exclusive. GG, PlayStation.
I thought
Sony.
I kept hearing that second thing was coming sooner, or it was more day and date for everybody who got it. PC, that is to say. Didn't
Maybe.
I read that?
don't
I hope
know.
so,
We'll
but I
see.
doubt it. Sony, he who complains of Microsoft, what's Sony's last name? Entertainment.
Sony's last name?
Sony, he who complains about Microsoft Entertainment.
Smith.
Sony Phillips.
Sony Smith.
Yeah, so for Sony Smith and Sony Phillips, they got together, had a baby, called it PlayStation. Well, that's awesome. I agree. The whole list is games I can't wait for this year. Oh my gosh, Space Marine 2. Bring it. I'm ready. It's break time. We're going to take a break. When we come back after this break, we're going to answer some of your questions, basically listener patron categories. We'll tackle a few of those. And then, if you've hung around this long, we pick our top 3 video games of 2022.
I'm excited.
Yep. We'll see if we match on any of these. That'll be after the break shortly. So come on back, you hear? All right. We will take a moment.
Yeah.
No lake run. Someone in the chat said they had to do a lake run. That always makes me smile.
Lake Run.
Yep. All right, we're back from our lake run, and we're ready for more of this here deal here on Core. Where the hell am I? We need, I don't know, I feel like we need something big for our big top games of the year here. Oh, no, we're doing the listener
Well,
thing
we're
first.
not there yet. But,
Yeah, listener
so
thing.
you
You
got
guys,
time to figure it out.
these guys get, let's give them Thundercats. All right, they get the Thundercats theme for no good reason. Let's get right to it. These are some of the categories that were suggested by some listeners. For example, Steam Deck Game of the Year. For me, that's an easy one. It's The Witcher 3 for that. I played a ton of that. Well, it's not a new game, though, so I don't think I can count it. Can I
It
count
doesn't
it?
matter. You
Doesn't
just
matter.
you played it this year on your Steam Deck, which is from this year. I think it's all fine.
Yeah, well, if that's the case, the one I played the most is weird. I played Kingdoms of Amalur Remastered.
No, that's not weird at all. That's a good game.
I love that game, and I played a ton of it. I took it on my trip. I played it all summer and winter, and I really enjoyed that. So that was my pick. Did you guys? Well, I know John, you got a Steam Deck. What did you play the
Yeah,
most?
I would go ahead and give it to probably the game that made me get a Steam Deck, oddly enough, and I would say the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster Collection works great on the Steam Deck. They did announce they're doing the Pixel Remaster for Switch, finally. Seems like a no-brainer that should have happened, but up until that happens, Steam Deck's the only way to play it mobile, which is a great way to play those games, so... The
Yep.
Pixel Remaster Collection would be what I want to play on Steam Deck.
And this is maybe the year Bo ends up with a Steam Deck. We'll see. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, he watched all that Game Awards. He talked over it, and they couldn't even send him a Steam Deck.
Those bastards.
Will Hunter got it.
Sure. There's another one here. Lots of requests for games completed. Did Scott finish X or Y? Game Scott said he'd keep, but didn't.
It's time.
This was the most requested category. Everybody wants to know, ever since we made it a thing on this show, how many games did Scott beat? Did he finish Ghost of Tsushima like he said he would?
Well,
This
okay.
has been a big deal, a big sought after question.
Did I say Tsushima this year? That I'd finish it this year? Was that
Yes,
my...
yeah.
I
That's
think
what
so.
started all of this.
Okay, well, I failed miserably. Although I'm pretty far in it. I'm probably 80% through that game, both side content and main quest. So I'm actually not that far. I should probably just finish it. I do really like that game. I just get distracted. But the games I finished this year were I'd already finished the campaign technically, but I 100%ed the 1915, the 2015 Mad Max game, open world game. I 100%ed that this year. Also very good on Steam Deck, by the way. And Cyberpunk, I beat that, and started fresh and beat it this year. So that was a start and finish in the same year.
Still only 1 point.
Only a point.
Yeah. I've still only lifted up one finger, so you're good.
There's no bonus points.
I beat I beat other games. What other games did I beat? I've lost track. There's so many. What was the one that I beat? We talked about it here on the show, and you guys said that doesn't count if you started it years ago.
Because you loaded it up. You hadn't played it in a long time.
Yeah,
we're going to count that one.
Yeah, I'll just give you a 3. You're up to 3.
What was that anyway?
It doesn't matter. I'll give it to you.
Well, look, do you have your Steam recap? Do you have Steam on your
I have Steam here. I could look at
that.
that.
Go to your recap.
Okay, while Scott looks at that, I did do this. I did put together the list of games I beat in 2022. The list is as follows.
Go.
Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker, Final Fantasy V, Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII, Final Fantasy IX twice, Elden Ring, Cyberpunk 2077, Mass Effect, Vampire Survivors, Return of the Obra Dinn, The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, Mega Man X and Mega Man X2 from the Legacy Collection, TMNT Shredder's Revenge, Return to Monkey Island, As Dusk Falls, and as of last night, Marvel's Midnight Suns.
Wow. Okay.
Nice.
Hold on a second though. If you can count all those Final Fantasy games, I played Drill Dozer, a GBA game from like 30 years ago, and I played that and beat it. It was 20 years ago or whatever it was. Okay. Remember Drill Dozer? So that counts.
It didn't have to come out this year, no.
No.
Yeah, you can count that one.
All right, I'm counting it then. How about a lot of games that are permanently replayable. None of let's see.
Yeah, those don't count.
Was this year we played Final Fantasy VIII? Or no?
Yeah.
Oh, then I beat that. Not Final Fantasy. Sorry. Resident Evil 8.
No, that was last year.
Village. Was that last year?
Yeah, that was last year.
Damn it. Hold on. I'm just looking at my list. Where do you do the recap? How do you find that?
So go to the store page and just scroll until you find like a banner that says your recap.
Okay, I'm looking. Replay. Oh, Steam Replay.
Click it. And then scroll. You'll have to scroll far down, but it says explore the games you played this year. It'll say grid view and grid view by month, so you can break it down by month or just look at all the titles.
Okay, here we go. Check this out. V Rising. I played 28 sessions. Let's see. Games played.
Wait, you didn't beat V Rising.
No, I didn't beat it. I'm just looking at some of these numbers.
Oh, you're just giving us your Steam recap.
Yeah, I just want to see a couple of these. Like, for example, I
chill,
played.
John.
Yeah, he was ready to go for the throat there.
I was like, what are you talking about?
2022, I played 293 Steam games. Doesn't mean I beat them, but Hard Space Shipbreaker. I beat the story. I beat it.
Okay, we're up to 5 now.
Yeah.
Okay, I forgot about that.
One of them we're not sure what it is,
but he beat it. He beat it, man.
Let's see. I unlocked 568 achievements. Let's see. Your longest streak was 31 days. What does that mean? Every day? Percentage of games you played that were new releases, 17. Oh boy, this is interesting. 17%. What? Okay. 33% of the games I played were new games. 60% were recent-ish games, and then 7% classic. That's interesting.
Okay. I'm going to your games list. We're getting distracted.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm scrolling down here. Cyberpunk. Okay. Elder Scrolls Online. I played a bunch of that. My biggest month was June. I played a ton of games in June.
I can't go through your list. You have 1,650.
That's a lot, dude. I have 2,000 something if you look at the main list. Let's see. Okay, do I play more device? Yes, I played Windows, Mac OS, Steam Deck. Where does it say if I beat anything?
It doesn't say. You just go through them and remember.
Oh.
So if you go through a game and don't remember, I'd bet you didn't finish.
Oh, I beat Red Faction and Space Marine, but I've done that before, so it's a double. Played them
but
again.
sure.
That's fine.
That
That's
counts.
fine.
I
Yeah.
counted a few that I
you
had
took
beaten
the trip.
before.
Okay. Boy, so many of my games are like not those
7.
kind of games. Let's.
I mean, you're doing well. I think whoever was taking bets probably lost because it's higher than what we would have expected.
Oh, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. That's another one. I finished that.
8.
Finally, because I think that's it. Let me just make sure. Yeah, I think that's about it for finished.
All right.
I played a lot of games, finished that many. That's not a great
What's
ratio.
your tally, John?
Mine looks like 19.
Okay. Well,
All right.
the respectable 8. I think the way we talked, it made it sound like you finished 2. I think 8.
Yeah.
It's my favorite
think
rated
eight's
G.
way better than what we thought.
My rated G Quentin Tarantino cut the respectable 8. That turned out
Oh,
great.
and a good point. DJ Davis says in the chat room, any ROMs, anything in the ROM category. that
Oh,
you
definitely.
recommend?
Well, one of those was Drill Dozer, but I played so many ROMs to completion. It's a lot of dip in, dip out going on for Play Retro. Not finishing those, so I don't know if I can remember. There's maybe one or two. I got really far in, mainly because Nintendo didn't re-release it like they were planning, but got really far in Advance Wars 1. Then I lost my save. I am tempted to do that again, though. That game's so good. Anyway, I did play a lot of classic games this year.
You
But
might
they
have
don't track
finished
those.
more games than I have.
They don't
That
track
makes
them
you
on.
better.
Did really? Is that true?
Yeah, I didn't. I don't play a lot of story-based campaigns.
I don't either. Oh, I beat
I didn't
Tavern.
finish Divinity.
I beat Tavern Master, which, by the way, says it is my first played game in 2022 was Tavern Master, and I played all that it had. So
If it has an end state or like something you can measure as completion,
yes,
then
because you've
I'd
unlocked
say-
everything, and there's nothing else to unlock.
Yeah. So, John, you should probably throw Vampire Survivors on there because you did everything.
Yeah,
That
that's
is true. Yeah, that wasn't on my list. So
But you might have finished more than me. Like I'm most of my games I played are literally early access games. Like I think the only campaign games I played are Elden Ring and Midnight Suns, which I haven't finished.
just means we have different play styles, you know.
I guess Half-Life Alyx would count. I didn't finish any of the other VR games though.
I thought
So, like,
about
I have 2.
I thought about playing a bunch of these. Oh, man, looking at this list makes me realize how much I want to play a bunch of these that I kind of just dipped into and then pulled out. Huh?
Oh.
It's like an average
that
Saturday
is a
night.
method you can use. For
It's
games.
one. It is absolutely one method. Like I want to play.
Oh,
Let's build a zoo and more Deep Rock. Oh man, so many games.
I finished the Ascent this year, so that's 3.
Oh right, that's right. I was going to ask you about that one.
Yeah, I think
it
I
for me.
finished three like end state games this
So
year.
3, 9, and whatever John did. What'd you do?
19.
Okay.
Although I think we just got to 20 when Bo said put Vampire Survivors on.
Yeah,
there.
you're a finisher. John's a finisher. Well done. There's that. How about most meaningful to us game of the year? For me, meaningful. I mean, this should jump right at me, right?
Most meaningful to us.
Yeah, because if it's meaningful, the whole concept should be that, oh, yeah, you immediately have meaning when you think of it. It's like, oh, yeah, that game. Oh, yeah.
Like, I guess to us, core, like the 3 of us. I don't know, man. This year was the year of like, hey, guys, let's do some multiplayer. And we were pretty lax on the multiplayer. I miss you guys.
Yeah, I missed that too. Okay, you
we
know
would
what?
count D&D. We finished our D&D campaign.
I
so-
got it.
Yeah, that's true.
Hard Space.
What is that?
Hard Space Shipbreaker is my most meaningful game I played. I really liked the story in that, and it left a dent in me. So, that's
Well,
mine.
yeah. Well, yeah.
Do you have a game like that where it was like, oh man? I mean,
Um,
Obra Dinn probably
I-
for you, right?
Oberdin was what I was gonna say. I saw chat say it's Final Fantasy 14, and honestly, that's probably correct. I'll give Oberdin another shout out and just say that game stuck with me in a way. But I think the term meaningful means like a personal resonance, and I think Final Fantasy 14 was that for me this year.
Best meeting or on call game for me. I love that question, by the way. That one for me remained Loop Hero. I played that in almost every meeting I had this year because it's so easy to do that. It has shared saves, so I can play it anywhere. And I played it on my Mac when I would be in these meetings, and that game's still great. my 2021 game of the year is still a game I play a lot today.
I don't really have a lot of meetings or calls,
Yeah.
but one point during the show this year, which is a form of call, while Bo was talking about Overwatch 2 or VR, I played Marvel Snap.
Oh, nice.
So
Yeah, I was gonna say Snap for me, but not because on the show, like actual meetings.
Yeah.
Because it's on the phone,
Yeah.
and you can just whip one out. And
yeah, I think it was a you and Bo Overwatch 2 discussion. I played Snap during.
Well, I play. We haven't given a lot of talk to Overwatch 2, but I played that a lot this year. But for meetings, it's now shifting to World of Warcraft again because I'm playing that again.
yeah,
And
like
I-
we played more games than we're going to talk about today. It's really
Yeah.
just the best, their favorite things of the year.
Yeah.
It's a look back on the very best.
This one's a weird one. Biggest Scott tangent game. I don't really know what that means.
I think that means like you decided to play 50 survivors like games or
Oh,
100 chore core games or every Monopoly game that was ever released. Which one of your tangent games
I get
stands
that.
out?
For me, it's a genre, and it would be or a subgenre. I would say it was the 40K run I did on every possible 40K game that was out at the time. So I was trying them all. I did the strategy games, the shooter games, the Space Marines, where I started playing that again. I tried it all. And the one that really jumped out at me as the one I wish I would have more time for is the one that's kind of Civ-like, the Gladius series.
Yeah.
It's basically Civ, but you take away everything but the war part. And it's a turn-based Civ game, but with tons of like 40K war. It's really good. But yeah, that was probably that. Let's see. How about best music's an interesting one. Yeah, John, I know you'll probably Final Fantasy 14, right? Probably.
It's definitely, yeah, it's a real contender.
There's a bunch of good music. Like I thought that the sequel to what's her name? Aloy and her business. Can't think of the damn name. Forbidden West. That had amazing music, but at the end of the year, the music I'm most blown away by. This is going to sound like normal and like lame, but it's this new World of Warcraft soundtrack is incredible. Incredible. I think it's the best work they've done maybe ever. That's how good it is. I played every expansion of that game. I've loved a lot of music. Boy, howdy, is this soundtrack awesome. It's fan-frickin-tastic. So I'm going to
probably give it to Return of the Obra Dinn.
Oh, it does have cool music, doesn't it?
It has really cool music. Like, it has kind of the same melody played a bunch of different ways, and it just carries a lot of different emotions to it. I really like the Obra Dinn soundtrack.
Yeah.
That or Final Fantasy 14.
Bo, do you have any music that was like, whoa?
I think probably the most impactful music this year was Elden Ring.
Yeah.
For its restraint, actually.
Yeah, it was sparing, but when it did, it was
sparing, but when it did, it was haunting.
Yeah.
It was moving. It was beautiful. And like the theme song, when you go to log in to play, it made you like you were already wanting to play, but somehow you want to play more when you hear that menu music.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shit, I'm gonna get Elden Ring. Like you're just like,
Yeah.
it's like that moment when you're a kid and your mom's like, okay, you want an ice cream? And you're like, yes. And then you get the ice cream and you're shaking so bad because you're like, I'm about to put this ice cream in my mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elden Ring.
I need to because I haven't played Ragnarok. I would like to, just partly for that, because the music is now award-winning music from Beer McCreary, but that guy makes nothing bad, so I'm sure that's really good too.
I'm
a
sure
good
it's
year
great,
for game
but we've
music.
heard Viking shit before. Like,
We've heard lots of Viking shit before. You're right. You're right.
sorry.
You're absolutely right.
I can't judge. I haven't heard it, but I just there's like 100 Viking games. How good could it be?
There are many.
I'm skeptical, but I can't provide an actual opinion because I didn't listen to it. So
Snap menu music. You really like that? That was a
No, worse.
That was your
Worse
favorite?
music.
just your favorite
I
music of all
finally
time.
turned off the music and left the sound effects, and it made my Snap experience significantly better.
Really?
I also set it to 60 frames per second, which I don't know why it was on 30 on my phone, but
Well, it's
I
just
think
to
it saves
conserve
battery.
it
battery.
looks and sounds a lot better with
Oh,
that
yeah.
music off.
Yeah. Oh, really? Not with it on like this?
Man, what were they thinking? Yep, ship it. Awesome. Sounds great.
I like it. I like it.
So bad. So bad.
Let's see. This last one, game that should be a movie or television show. Let's do that one. That I played this year. Actually, you know what? So I'll go from my disappointment, my unique disappointment in Elden Ring, but to say that I would kill for an Elden Ring movie or TV show. And I would want it to be understated and kind of quiet. Like, there's not a lot of talking in that game. But I don't know how you translate that. You got to have a plot, you got to have characters and all that. But I just think that world would be really interesting in film. So, I don't know. Maybe it's the George R.R. Martin part of it. But Elden Ring for me.
So they didn't say it in relation to this topic, but they mentioned it, and I think I might be down with this. Metal Hellsinger.
Oh, yeah, dude. That game's cool.
Like, the intro to that, like, the art style, I was just like, man, this would be a kick-ass TV show. Just heavy metal music playing through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Just a lot of ultra-violence and, like, demons and stuff. The style is cool. The character looks awesome. Like, I would watch a show around Metal Hellsinger.
Good call. That's a good one. Bo, you think we ought to have some music around, or no, a show around what?
TV show.
Oh, you know what? One of your VR
Dyson
things.
Sphere program.
Dyson Sphere. Oh, please let the dialogue be just like the game. That would be amazing.
For like a game this year or something, because I can think of lots of games from other years that I'm like, oh yeah, like give me a Hades cartoon or
Yeah.
but it doesn't count. TV show, I don't know. This is the honest answer of what I'm feeling right now.
Yeah.
It's not really a video game, but I want a There Will Be Dungeons movie, TV show, video game. I want to bring your characters to more people around the world.
Who's
one of a kind and special?
I figured out who we want to cast as Nash. Because we talked about this a lot, but I finally figured it out.
We talked about this on our recap Q&A.
Yep. So the show C on Apple TV Plus, where all the people are blind in the apocalyptic future. It's very good, and I like that show a lot. But there's a character called Tamakdi June, who is this. Is he called the ghost hunter, witch hunter, whatever he's called? But basically, his job is to find the sighted, because there are unusual versions of people who are born with sight, and he has to kill them or capture them. And his arc changes a bunch, but this actor who plays him and the way he's portrayed in that show is Nash Maggard to a T. He'd have to do a little more comedic bullshit, but he could pull it off. So yeah, if they did like a Prime version of our anime, the way they did for Critical Role, I want that guy to play me. Do his voice or do his live action. I don't care either one. And I don't know his name.
I want to do Stanley's voice because I want a paycheck.
Yeah, you want to get paid, yo.
Yeah, give me a job.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, it would be you. In my dreams, it's you guys doing the voice.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
No one can do. You guys are iconic. I know it doesn't feel like it because we're not exactly the number one phenomenon across the internet. Just being realistic, but to those who watched, we were special to them, and you were all iconic in the characters you portrayed, and that would be my number one wish. Would be Scott Johnson as Nash Maggard.
So was our DM. He was very iconic. He did things like this. Yeah. Hold on, let me find a good one. Nope, that's a fart. Just a second.
Yeah,
this one.
Captain, we're under attack.
Attack. Although, let me ask you this, Scott.
Yeah.
Every now and then, when you're playing High on Life,
yeah,
does it remind you of being in our D&D campaign?
A little. Yeah.
Like, specifically, there is a character that just floats in front of you and spouts bullshit, and you can't shoot him because if you try, he just teleports out of the way. It's like, teleported!
Yeah.
And then he just keeps telling you about, like, his life's problems and stuff while you're trying to run around and do an adventure. He's just like, so anyway, then my ex-wife came over and she said, and I'm just like, oh my god, I feel like I'm playing D&D.
It is
again.
a little like that. Yeah.
it is so spot on to characters that Bo has created for that show.
Yeah.
That like,
in some ways, that it is maybe part of the reason I think I like the vibe of the game. Is it feels impromptu, like they're just winging it. Which I think he probably did in the studio when he's making lines. He's probably just winging it. But Bo, this is my favorite thing you ever said.
If you need anything, just yell, "Oh fuck!"
Oh man, you remember that? Wow,
that's not what he
said. That's a mashup.
Oh, that was an edit, was it? Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
All right, we are now going to get to the big. Oh, you know what? I should have some cool lead up for this. I'm not prepared. How about let's see. No, that's boring. Okay. Oh, hey, game of the year, core game of the year, everybody. These are our top three. Top three games. I'll mention Pentiment one more time because that just deserves to be talked about, but it's not in my top three. Here are my top three. One of these is going to piss John off. That's okay. My third favorite game of the year that I still play a ton.
Piss me up?
Yeah, Soulstone Survivors.
I think a lot of these.
You think a lot of them will? Okay.
Yeah, I think your list is flawed.
It's a little jacked. Soulstone Survivors. I played more of that than any of the other Soulstone or Survivor likes or whatever we're calling them. But also, I think it's just legitimately a good game, and I like its take on that thing. I think that is the one to watch. It's still in early access, so it doesn't quite count as a release game, but I really like Soulstone Survivors. So that was my third favorite game of the year. Second one is going to blow everybody's mind because I hardly talk about it on here. But here's my category or my reason for choosing this. This was the year I found a game that when the entire family was over, all my kids, my daughter's husband, friends, whatever, we broke this game out and had people on the floor dying. Laughing.
Oh, that's sweet. Okay, I take it back. Your list is only 2/3.
Yeah, it's a family game, but what's funny about it is it's not couch co-op. It's one person's playing, but everyone else is just having a great time watching them play. And that game is You Suck at Parking, which is available on Game Pass. And I'm so glad it was because that was a little sleeper hit for us around here. And I love You Suck at Parking. The campaign is really fun and just rage-inducing. It reminds me of playing Super Meat Boy in the day. Just a really frustrating but fun and very satisfying when you pull stuff off game where you're driving this little tiny car around trying to get to these parking spaces within the right amount of time with the right amount of gas in your tank and avoiding giant obstacles like burning walls and spinning fans that are blowing you off the course and all this crazy stuff. This 3/4 view thing. It is so much fun. And the multiplayer is insanity. It even has a freaking battle pass like everything does now. You Suck at Parking was the second most fun time I had with video games this year. Again, barely bring it up here, but it was a huge hit in the house, and it was hard to deny. And
the game is a cool game and a fun one to stream. Apparently, I checked it out. Someone was streaming it, and apparently you can mess with people.
Oh yeah, big time.
It has integration.
Has a good streamer mode.
Yep,
Steamer mode.
Yeah, that's the one. There is a demo on Steam, chat. You're right about that. It's absolutely worth trying if you haven't checked it out. And man, we were in tears the other night playing this game. So much fun. Sometimes the simplest stuff. And number one is as much a shock to me as it may be to other people when they hear this. But I cleared the campaign in World of Warcraft Dragonflight. I got to level 70. I'm now doing world content. And I'm having so much fun. I can't believe I'm saying this. This is my number one game of the year.
I can't believe you're saying this. I feel like this is recency bias. I think this is you doing that thing that you accuse everybody of doing, which is forgetting January and February exists.
Uh-huh.
All because somebody new walked by in December.
I mean, that's the thing, and I thought about this when I wrote this down, but I went back. I went through all my playlists on everything I do. Steam, my Xbox stuff, my PlayStation stuff, Switch, all of it. And I couldn't find anything I'm enjoying more than this. Now, yes, I am in the midst of it. It's still kind of, the glow is now, right? And so, yes, that does have an effect for sure. But as in years past, it's once in a while, Warcraft envelops me and makes me want to do nothing else. That's happening right now, and I can't help but give it. I mean, when a game does that, what else are you looking for?
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, so I really like it.
It might just be that good, John.
It might be.
I don't know. I'm
You might
still
have-
on my first quest on the Dragon Isles, and I have not felt the need to complete it.
No, but
You might have memancy bias. because we often make that joke of Scott. The best thing ever is the last thing he's played.
Yeah.
But he's also right.
I mean,
he's been right about things.
That's
so
true. That's dangerous.
we
Scott
can't
is
just discount
occasionally
it.
just really right about
sometimes
stuff.
I'm right, but in this case, I admit I just don't know how I went from a month ago just not caring to like fully in. I don't know how that happened. It just did. And John's partly to blame because he picked it up before I did and said some really positive things. And I went,
That is
oh,
true.
geez.
I opened the door for you. I'm just giving you a hard time. at
Yeah.
this
I'm worried.
point.
I'm worried. I'm being a fool. It might be a good time to play Dragonflight. I've thought about it a lot.
And every time I get it, look here, let me show you the last text from Chris. He says,
He says, "You better make it your game of the year. We're not."
no, he
friends
doesn't
anymore."
say that. His last thing to me was Merry Christmas to all the Johnsons. I said, hey, same to the Metsons. Hope you guys are all doing well. I said, oh, and I dinged 70 and finished the main campaign to celebrate. And he says, oh, baby. He says, I'm grinding this Valdrakken rep in ways I never thought I could. And I'm doing it every day because I've got this. I want to keep this story going. He's in love with the story. So part of it is a little bit of friend bias. I have friends who are really back in and all in, and that helped chorus me. But now that I'm just playing, and I haven't been grouping or anything. So it's
That's
not like
what we do here. We're all friends, and we give friend bias to each other. So.
Yeah, that's what we do.
That's true. That's why I have half the games you guys named, despite not playing them.
Exactly. So anyway, I just think that game's
We make each other poor. As a result of that.
that game is it. And notice that I'm being hesitant about saying I'm sure it's the greatest expansion ever. That usually needs some time has to pass. We have to see how the long tail goes, right? That's part of an MMO. It isn't just this really tight hunk of 10 level content they made, which is almost always universally good, despite whatever expansion it is. So this still has some proving to do. But boy, it starts strong, and it just grabbed me in a way that I didn't expect. And I didn't think I gave a shit about Warcraft dragons or dragon lore. I was wrong. That story is good. There's some cool stuff in there. Anyway, I'm very excited to be playing again. John, your top 3 of 2022.
Let's do it. Number 3, Return to Monkey Island.
Boo! Oh, just kidding. I need to play that.
That's fine. This game is, this is a nostalgia trip for me, and it was as a game as well, because it's been a long time since a proper Monkey Island game came out, and this game knows it, and this game celebrates the series and its life, all while telling a new story, and a story that felt relevant to me where I am in my life. And it felt very personal. And it's not often you play a game and you sit back and you go, did they make this game just for me? Because it kind of feels like they just made this game for me. But that's what this game felt like. It felt like oh, John likes the Monkey Island games. Let's make a Monkey Island game with a story that's relevant to him and put it out. And I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
Nice.
And for the little window where it came out, I just sort of forgot the world and forgot other games existed and played through the entire thing. It was perfect.
Yeah, it seems to be you are among many people who rave about that game.
Yeah,
I need to just play the damn thing. Why am I not playing
it's
it?
good.
I don't know.
Because you played the Detective Story Chronicles. 'Cause you played a different adventure game. You were like, oh, everybody's playing that Monkey Island. What if I played?
I did. You're right. That was a very good game too, by the way. It deserves play, but I do that sometimes. I don't know why I do this. I can't explain this. You show up and go, Vampire Survivors, and I go, yes, but what about all the copycats?
Oh, man, yes. I hear you. But what about other games that are like it?
That are sort of like, I don't know why I do that, but I do.
I think it's probably Slay the Spire's fault.
Yeah, a little bit. Because that
Yeah.
thing,
'Cause that's the best one, but it looks so ugly.
I know it's so ugly.
Like, what if all these games are like that? You got ugly art avoidance syndrome.
That's true. I'd put Monster Train up with it, though. Not enough people put that next to Slay the Spire. Monster Train's awesome.
Well,
Anyway.
there's lots of great card games.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, Return to Monkey Island, number 3. What do you got for number 2?
Number 2 is Elden Ring.
Oh, I've heard of
I love the first Dark Souls game, and as a result, I always kind of thought, oh, I love From Software games, and then I proceeded to play a bunch of them and never really get into them in the same way I did Dark Souls, and it kind of brought me back around to this idea of maybe I don't actually like From Software games. Maybe I just like Dark Souls, and that's all I like. And then this came along, and it took what I liked about Dark Souls and put it in a formula where it just works so much better. Where when you hit those hurdles, it's not about just banging your head against the wall nonstop until you get past it, but like, oh, I can't fight this boss. All right, I'll go find something else to do. Like the shift to open world really enhanced that game in a wonderful way. And it also looked good, and there were so many secrets and crazy things. The amount of times I'd just be playing that game, and all of a sudden it's just like, I'm just riding. Let me go into this church, and all of a sudden a lady bursts into fire and starts attacking me. It's like, why is this happening? What's going on? And it just was a joy to discover, a joy to overcome the obstacles that it threw at me. It kind of like Monkey Island. Like when Elden Ring came into my life, other games pretty much ceased to exist, and I just played it. And when I got done with it, I just wanted to play it again. Like it was really crazy like that, and by far one of my favorite games I've ever played.
Nice.
Let alone this year.
I mean, it's funny. People say you're not a Souls fan. What's wrong with you? I'm a From fan because they're making that Armored Core sequel, which I cannot freaking wait for. I'm a giant Armored Core fan, but it's not a Souls-like. So, I think that's my problem. It's the Souls-likes. Sorry, everybody. Write your senators. Whatever. I don't like them. John does, though. Number 2. Nicely done. Give us number 1.
Number 1 shouldn't surprise anybody at all, but let's talk about it because I finally have my platform to stand on for it. This game, Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. What else was it going to be for my number 1? Final Fantasy XIV has been a journey I've been on for more than just this year, that we've talked about on this show a lot. And Endwalker is an end. There is easy to make an argument, well, you didn't finish that game, or it's an MMO, it's gonna live on, but Endwalker is the end of many expansions and a lot of stories, and it is so hard to nail the landing of an MMO. Or anything, honestly. It doesn't even need to be an MMO. It's so hard to nail the ending of a story, period. And Endwalker was just this like crazy magical kind of experience of constantly being surprised. The game I thought I was gonna get, I had experienced by about the halfway point of the expansion. And that's really impressive to be like, wait a minute, what else is there? It's kind of like what Bo was saying earlier, where it's like, yeah, I think I'm done with this. And you look and you're like, oh, I'm only halfway through. What is this game? They stuck the landing on this crazy long journey, which is insane to do. But also this year, they started a new journey, in the patch content. And I had doubts. How do you go from what it was? How do you start that back up? And how do you recapture the magic? How do you take years of storytelling and lore building up to a moment and then go, all right, well, that's done. Let's start again and get people invested. And they did. And I'm all in on this new story. And I think the new story is amazing and incredible. And it's introducing new characters I already care about a great deal. And it's really incredible what they've done with that game this year. So
let me ask you this: did the final bits of Endwalker finally did a giant calamity wipe out the tiny little annoying people, and that's why it's a good game now?
The Lalafels?
Yeah, did that happen? No? Well,
No.
okay.
No, that
right.
was in A Realm Reborn.
Oh. Did
Wait,
they get wiped
what's
out?
better, gnomes or Lalafels?
They're
Like
Lalafels.
Warcraft gnomes?
Lalafels.
Yeah. And I don't like
Yeah.
gnomes much either, but I really don't like Lalafels. Even the name.
Lalafels are better than gnomes.
So you'd punt a Lalafell, but John would stand in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. I don't know why Scott is repping gnomes so hard. Lalafels, one, have normal voices. They aren't like, "Hi, everybody. All right, Zany, look at my crazy invention. Oh, I made a helicopter. Greetings, friend."
There's some
So
of those.
they
There's
don't have the annoying voice.
No, it's
to
almost worse
begin
because
with.
you'll see one that'll come trotting up with little arms out and his tiny feet, and then he'll go, "I've seen much in my day." You're like, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah. They mess with you. They're also, Lalafels are way more evil than gnomes.
Yeah, I'll
They
give you that.
are in every political level, and they control everything.
Yeah.
It's shocking, the pies that Lalafels have their hands in and the chaos they have
Is
caused.
that dude still walking around with one on his shoulder? Is that still a thing? What's his name?
He hasn't put her on his shoulder or on his arm for a while, but that's amazing.
Okay.
Like Lalafels ride on arms, gnomes don't.
Yeah, I think it's whatever. And
Also,
also
right on Robo Chickens. That's pretty dope too.
that is dope. I'll give you that.
See, dope.
Robo chickens are cool. All right.
One little, not to ruin things, but Endwalker is a 2021 game, isn't it? Or am I?
But I couldn't log in until 2022, and also it came out so late.
Okay.
That,
Yeah. No. Fair. I'll. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll allow
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah.
That makes me feel a whole lot better about this whole list.
Oh, good.
They had some major issues at launch. I recall.
Nice.
Yeah, they did.
All right.
Well argued.
Now
Lawyer
let's
John.
lay the carpet before Bo's mighty feet. Tell us your top three.
Okay. Wait. What's going on?
I don't know. What are you doing?
What's going on?
Oh,
this-
it's that kid. Hey.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, I'd like to thank Seek Henry Cavill for bringing us more Warhammer 40k. Get out of here, kid! What are you doing here?
Yeah, who are you,
You already
kid?
ruined one Game Award show. This is my time.
Yeah, if you're at home, it's the kid.
whew.
You know the kid. The kid. He's
Yeah,
back.
I was invaded by a dark spirit.
Yeah.
I've been waiting 3 hours for that bit. I hope you like it.
It was worth it. Yeah.
Worth every minute. Yeah.
Yep.
It was good, wasn't it? All right. Okay. Yeah, my top three for 2022. So this list was kind of tough because I think I played 3 games released in 2022. So I didn't really have anything to cut off the list. I don't count the EA games. I got into quite a few EA games this year.
He means early
access, yeah.
Early
Anybody
access.
that gets confused like me and goes, "What is he talking
Yeah,
about?"
not
EA.
electronic
I realized
arts. It's in the game.
most of my game time was divided between Solasta, Divinity, modding Skyrim VR, and just VR games, which all were not released this year. They were all older. And then just early access. I was like, I actually only played 3 this year releases. So
it makes
here we
me
go.
feel better about things real quick before you start because it feels like this was that year for me too, where I played older stuff before I played newer stuff.
I
don't know
mean,
why.
there's so many games. Like, you could just go to 2020 and be like, what are all the games I missed? And
Yeah.
probably fill your year.
Yeah, it's a good point.
So, yeah, it's tough. Anyways, in the third position, Midnight Suns. I think I'm 1 or 2 missions away from finishing. I have the last character, but of course, I love doing side missions. This game shines bright in spite of its faults. I think if there are better games, I might give it because this genre they've created needs a bit more work. I would like to see. I don't love the invisible walls around the arena. I kind of like to see a little more verticality and tacticality and like there's just stuff I want more of, but I think it's a really good start.
Mm-hmm.
But I really like this game. It's deserving of the 3rd spot on the list. Midnight Suns. I've talked about it a lot. Fantastic.
I was
game.
glad to get it here
Despite-
mentioned today. We've talked so much the last few weeks. I had yet to be on a list today, so this is good. Glad it's there.
It's really, really good. It was just hard for me to find a place on my list for it, but
Yeah.
it's phenomenal.
It has stuff it needs to work out. The arenas could be better. I find it could have more enemy types. Like it's pretty. Maybe I've just played it a lot and got my money's worth out of it already, but I just feel like there could be more. More is coming. and the writing really needs work. Like I think they actually have talented writers. I think whoever's in charge of it's the idea that I'm an incel and I need positive reinforcement from moral characters, to be like, oh, you're a good friend. Like I don't. Yeah, it's just not the tone. Maybe it works for kids, but it feels like a game for adults, and I don't need that kind of reinforcement from Nico going, "You're pretty swell. I liked watching a movie with you, and I'm like, I
Right.
just don't need this. Like,
I-
just chill, watch a movie, and like, be cool.
Yeah.
I kind of think of it as the writing is good, but the purpose for the writing is bad.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
if you look at all the dialogue lined up and you go, well, what's the purpose for most of this? Like fluff, filler, and like that stuff is a lot of it. It's a lot of just like
They're lucky the game itself is so good, and a lot about the game is so good. But if like I refunded Wrath of the Righteous because the writing was bad. This is that level. Like, and it's not like you said, John. It's not the writing. It's like the aim of it all, which is, I feel like, to give me pretend friends. I don't know. I just hate it. I hate it.
you're not wrong.
Like, I don't like it. Like, please stop. Very cringe. My second favorite game that I played this year is Dark Tide. A lot of misgivings were expressed in the most disappointing games by John. I don't feel he's wrong about any of them. The missing features at launch. Game needs to be worked on. It's feels like an early access game in some ways. However, I think the shooting is solid. The Left 4 Dead style mechanics are solid. I've had a lot of fun. I leveled 2 characters up to max level. I'm looking forward to getting back and playing more. It also feels like the most Warhammer game I've played, in spite of the fact that there's no Space Marines, in the sense that I get that feeling of like life sucks and and I don't fit in, and so I'm gonna die, but I get to keep living as long as I burn heretics, and as soon as I stop being useful, I might as well be dead. You just sort of get that depressing feeling, up to and including not being able to make pretty characters. There was a thread I saw, I think it was in the Dark Tide forums or whatever, people want their girl hairstyle that's like the ponytail that's really popular so they can look cool. But the ponytail one, it's you got this massive bald spot in there, it looks nasty, and it's yeah, no, that's not this game. You look like a reject. You are a reject. The game constantly reminds you your life is worthless, and I just love that. And, it's a complete polar opposite of Midnight Suns, where it's you're Hunter, you're special. Let's all be friends. This game's screw you, you suck. Shoot things or just die. And I love the tone. This game, it's fantastic, and I think, like it was said before, it will get better with time. I have a lot of faith that Fat Shark's going to make a decent game out of it yet.
Nice.
Yep.
I need to
And
play more.
number one.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Elden Ring.
Oh, Elden Ring. Okay.
In spite of it being a bit of an easy game, Melania was hard, but it was mostly, an accessible, easy version of probably some of the other games. I'd say that unironically. There were bosses I fought, killed the first time. At first it was hard, but, you level. It's pretty easy, except for the one boss.
Yeah.
I just think it was okay. Here's the reason why it's the best game. It brought a lot of people together in a communal way that I don't even think other From Software games have. This reached a pinnacle of solidarity amongst a lot of gamers, not all of them, but many of them. When I streamed the whole thing. It was fun to have people watch. It was fun to discuss there's a lot of people having those experiences and discussing their strategies and ups and downs, which doesn't happen with a lot of games because there's so many releases and interests. I find it a rare thing, and this game delivered on a community aspect, which I really liked. And it didn't hold your hand. And I think it's good that we have games full of UI. I think we can have both, but there are definitely not a lot of games that have low UI and low hints or just actual intended secrets. Probably stuff in there we still haven't figured out yet. And I really respect what it accomplished. And
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun.
It was also
I
the most
logged in for 2 months straight, about 200 hours.
felt like the most
run.
meme-worthy game. Certainly during its high point of the year, there was just nonstop, which speaks to the communal part you were talking about, but just nonstop memes and GIFs and videos and weird glitches. And that's how you know a game has truly hit like stratosphere levels, is when everybody everywhere is talking about it, making fun of it, raving about it. Like, I can't take that from that game.
Lots of good memes. People like shooting fireballs from 1,000 meters and one-shotting an entire squad. Like, there's lots of great memes that came out of it.
Yeah.
The let me solar, the guy who helped people beat Melania with nothing but a diaper and a pot on his head.
Yep.
Like, there was just, it's just undeniably, it's undeniably the largest force in gaming, whether you like it or not. It had made the most impact over many play groups, and that's like you can't just will that into existence.
No, that's a big
phenomenon
deal
this year. And
I still remember going from playing it to immediately going to Bo's stream and being like, Bo, they're nerfing the build.
Yeah, right.
The build.
He tells me the build. He tells me like the sweet build. Was it Hoarfrost? I think it was the Hoarfrost. It was the hammer with Hoarfrost.
The axe, yeah, or something.
Or it was an axe. There was some freezing mechanic, and so I was farming like those ugly dogs in Arizona. What land was that called? I can't remember.
Yeah, Arizona.
It was Arizona.
It was in Arizona, and then we couldn't do it effectively anymore, and I had to change up my strategy. People want to know what my build was. I was a tanky shield guy with katanas, main hand katana, and I just and I'd hot swap to Wolverine claws every now and then for fun and also for strategy.
John, you should tell people that in the way they ask you what you do, say I farm ugly dogs in Arizona. That's what you should say.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, you're there.
Got to get that Hoarfrost axe.
Yeah,
that's where they come from.
I'm an ugly dog farmer in Arizona.
That's amazing. All right,
Elden Ring.
I don't think anyone can take. I mean, even where it's one of my more disappointing games of the year, it's not. It's a me thing, and I had all kinds of FOMO about how to feel about that game. I just never felt it the way everyone else did. But I think it's a massive success. Even the devs were like, "Whoa, what?" I mean, I don't think anybody knew it was going to be as big as it was.
I mean, Godric alone, just the fact so many people, that was their first From Software game, and the first boss just like annihilated them over and over. And people are like, yo, isn't the first boss supposed to be an introduction to mechanics? And From Software's like, no, you suck.
Yep.
But everything's surmountable. Because it's an RPG game, you can go level up. You practice at the mechanics. That was the other thing, is a lot of games you come in already knowing stuff, and that felt like there was a learning curve, and I appreciated that.
Yeah. Well, I think well-deserved praise. Let's now do the final thing of the day, which is the last mashup Jamie has prepared. This includes, or I guess this is the one for me. Yeah, it's called the Co-Host Spotlight Special, Scott Johnson edition for today, the 29th of December, 2022. And I don't have any idea what this is going to be. I don't know how any of this goes. I was tempted to check it out earlier. I didn't. So this is as new to me as it will be to you. So big thanks once again to Jamie and to whoever this interests. Probably Liam again is my guess. And everybody for helping him out with this stuff, because it's amazing. He's
I've been looking forward to this. It's December 29th.
Yeah.
This is what we're going out on. This is the culmination of a year with a Hall of Fame podcaster the best tidbits that he contributed to this.
That's show. Right. I'm sure it's all perfect and normal. Here it is. Enjoy.
Scott Johnson. Fart and wiener jokes are both always funny. There's no L in both, by the way. Understands the elements of teabagging in video games. Obsessed with choco games where you do seemingly remedial tasks that have been gamified. Works the word cheese into as many sayings as is dwarvenly possible. And he won't stop talking about bloody V-Rising. Unlike Scott's proclivities towards video games, let's finish out the year with some of his most outlandish moments.
Wow.
I'm here to tell you, I think I keep wanting to say Uncharted. What's it? What is it again?
Dishonored?
Dishonored! Shit! There's a horror game in here somebody made. Not horror. I found a horror. Not like that.
I understood what you meant, and then you explained it, and I understood it less.
So, Master, my guy's name is Teddy Thunderhose. Or sorry.
Teddy Thunderhose. I like it.
And it looks like a fair amount of stealth in that, which is my favorite thing of the, I almost said Uncharted again. What is it again? Oh my gosh!
Dishonored?
Dishonored! Fat Japanese guy with 100 hand slaps. What's his name? Jimbo?
E-Honda.
E-Honda, there you go. Just come, and they come fast. That sounds great. How soon can I shove one up my anus? Your guy gets all breathy when he's pulling it out. You can hear him in his helmet going, oh, his name is Tim Bentdick? No. I also found a guy, another player in the game the other day named Creamy Armpit. That was fun.
What kind of cream do you suppose?
I'm thinking like cream of chicken,
Fromage?
like the soup, like the base soup that comes out in a big solid piece, like a cylinder.
Yeah.
Is the cream applied or is it sweated out through the pores?
Oh, it's excreted through the pores. Yeah. I'm playing a game called, Gas Station Simulator.
Is that it? Was that the simulation?
The burp is the
I think?
review. Yeah, that's my full review. I punched a cow in the nose once. I felt bad about it. I'll never do it.
Really?
Yeah.
Was that real?
It was a thing, this neighbor guy who had a bunch of cows.
What?
He was...
Brian, by the way, a bunch of cows.
He thought it was real funny to like...
He thought this cow thought he was real cool.
By the way, I punched a cow in the nose once.
It's a real weird brag.
Now I want Waluigi to bust into the room and catch Robert Pattinson smacking his wiener in the lighthouse.
That's from
I see faces.
the Swedish company that does furniture.
Oh, IKEA.
Yeah, it's from
IKEA?
IKEA.
The Swedish place that does furniture.
Is it Swedish?
Yeah, no, IKEA is Swedish. They're humormous. Humormous? That's not a word. I made that up.
Well, it's a Swedish word.
Humormous.
Oh, you mama's furniture. I don't know if that's a Swedish accent.
No, you nailed it right out of the gate.
I'm going to IKEA for you mama's furniture.
Yeah, you noob. I'm going to sit over your face and act like I'm putting my balls in your mouth. I'm a dude with my testicles. It's only a matter of time before somebody jams their man wiener in there. You want to touch my pee-pee? You want to touch my pee-pee? I'm not saying anything to you, bag of shit. You mean you don't want to touch my pee-pee? Stick the meat right in their face. Wave it around. Wave the meat in their face. All of my dopium requests. Dopium?
I thought you meant it. It was so good. I was like, yeah.
I need more dopium crystals.
Oh, sorry. I'm looking at Ryu's wiener. Hold on. It's just him on the side going, and everything, coming into his mouth. Anyway, he says he doesn't works for a marketing firm called Ampere Analytics, or Analysis, rather. Anal cis. Geez, Scott. Something about this one's really got me by the chode. The start screen gave me a boner. That's wild. I had no idea that was a thing. That's amazing. And you know what? I came... Before V Rising got its freaking
Wow,
fangs
you were
into
really
me.
excited about that tip.
What I meant to do.
Okay, can you put that out?
But anyway, what I was going to say
So
is...
matter of fact, it's just like
900% of that was all out of context. He's good at that.
Oh, I don't know about that. I tried that line and I was reproached
Oh my gosh.
successfully. So be careful with that line of argument with Jamie.
Yeah, you got to be.
He has receipts.
He's very good at what he does, though. Jamie, that was awesome. Thank you for a year of those, and I look forward to more in 2020.
Yeah, let's like a round of applause for Jamie.
Yeah.
yeah.
He just does these. It's our royal blessing that he does these and provides laughter for us and for you guys.
Yeah,
well.
and him and Taz with his magazine thing, and all you guys with your stuff you do. You guys are all amazing. Thank you for contributing to what we do and are in the year of 2022, and I hope it continues in the next year. It's going to be a big year, man. All kinds of cool stuff. Diablo 4, freaking Baldur's Gate 3 will be real.
And more testicles.
More testicles for all. Testicles for all. But I do want to remind you that this show is really paid for by you guys. We need your help. Patreon.com/core shows where to do it. And if if you've been on the fence, this will be a great year to do it because we got really cool stuff coming your direction. But even today, you'll never get a commercial. You'll never have a month or a show without some pre-show content tacked in there. We did some of that today. There's other benefits you can read about over there at patreon.com/core show. Don't forget to sign up for that computer. That's at frogpants.com/doghouse. And tomorrow at 9 a.m. at this same Twitch channel, twitch.tv/frogpants, we will be doing a live assembly of said machine. It's going to be very fun, plus a bunch of gifts and giveaways and other junk during that stream as well. So do all of that. We'll pick our winner next episode of Core, which will be the first Core of 2023. Pretty good. All right. I'm not going to ask Grandma to read and tell us what we played, because that's a lot of games to read. It's a bad idea. Does Grandma just have something she wants to say to take us out or anything? Or what do you think of that?
And you know what? I came.
Great. I feel like there should be something more to that, but I like it.
Okay.
Bo, any final words you'd like to share before we go?
I'm being invaded again.
Oh, no.
Help.
Oh, my gosh. Are you going to keep piling
I
on?
see you over his shoulder, but he won't.
Are you going to keep putting stuff there all year, next year, too?
Yeah,
I love it.
I think people like this. Yeah.
I love it.
It's fun.
Yeah, don't change it. It's a special treat for those who come and watch live, which we do every Thursday night at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. And we always love to have you here, so come check us out. That's going to do it for us. Thank you all for listening. Until next year at a brand new Core, we'll see you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.
In 1,000 years, I'll get right on it.
That's how I play games.